Okay, we have the green bars, we have the live counters ticking up, so we should now be live, which of course means welcome back to the Storytime Network. It is the Paradox Hour podcast, and we are here to discuss the media of 2023 that we have consumed.
And there is quite a bit.
We have been greedy pigs this year.
I mean, some has gotten more attention than others, but, we're going to be talking a lot.
Yeah, this is actually one of the few streams where I'm not talking a lot.
I mean, you're going to be talking a lot just in very specific areas. Probably.
True.
But yes, as always, while the majority of this stuff is from this year, there are bits and pieces around that are not. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Let us start with the first. This is a TV show, or a streaming series as they're now called. Ahsoka.
Potato. So the thing with a lot of Star Wars shows is that, aside from Andor, most of them have been decent. Nothing really spectacular, nothing really terrible outright. And this is one of them.
Yeah, probably the main reason this didn't get talked about more, though, was because of the strikes.
Oh yeah, no, the strikes, definitely contributed. No one was allowed to go out and promote this one.
But, from what I've heard, it was good.
It was fairly good. It was on the good...
It was one of the better ones.
Yes. I think that it owes a lot to the fact that it takes its time kind of exploring the dynamics of the characters with each other and how their backstories interweave.
Weird. It's like when Star Wars actually focuses on its characters instead of doing the epic horseshit, it almost Star Wars becomes good.
I mean, there's still the epic horseshit. They got space whales in this one. Again.
I mean space whales make everything better.
Space whales do make everything better. But yeah, there's all that dumb Star Wars bullshit that's very enjoyable.
Did they have any helicoptering Inquisitors though? Is the question.
They had one, and he got midway through the season.
Darn.
I'm comparing this mainly to Book of Boba or The Mandalorian or
The Mandalorian. I do think is pretty good.
Or even what's it called?
Oh shoot! I forgot to put season 3 of The Mandalorian on here. That was earlier this year, wasn't it?
Yeah. But something like
Do you want me to
fix that right now?
Yeah. Do you want me to put Obi-Wan on there as well? By the way.
Obi-Wan was last year, wasn't it?
Was it?
We discussed it last year. It was last year, yeah.
Fair enough. I thought it was this year.
More my point is that, those shows, where they struggled was when they were moving away from, intimacy of character to grander ambition. Mandalorian Season 3 has dropped off mostly because of the expansion to, the greater story of the Mandalorians rather than just Din Djarin.
And we can discuss that in a bit, unless you want to just discuss it now.
I mean, we can kind of tackle all the Star Wars things now. Because they all kind of interrelate, right? But more my point is that, Ahsoka works because it's focusing on or using characters that we've already seen before to a good extent by reusing the Rebels cast.
Yeah, having a pre-established set of characters works a lot to this one's advantage, even if it is a detriment in the sense of, hey, you have some required watching before going into this to get the full scope of what these characters.
Right, and that's kind of why I haven't really watched Ahsoka. I actually have been waiting for another podcast that I listen to, A More Civilized Age, to restart their Rebels watch before they can start watching Ahsoka.
Ah, so you're keeping up in tandem with them.
Yes, but they stopped because of the strikes.
Hmm.
They stopped watching.
Understandable.
They stopped watching. Not Ahsoka, Rebels.
Again,
Right.
understandable.
Right, and like, but again, more of the point, right? It was like Obi-Wan was good when it focused on Obi-Wan's relationship to Vader and his relationship to Anakin. It was less good when it focused on Obi-Wan versus the Inquisitor. Or
Look, I like the her story in and of itself, but like it was like, I think that the issue was like the execution of that story was kind of muddled with all the rest of the stuff going on in the show.
Right. Whereas like Andor is so grounded in character and character interaction that it, to the exclusion of like the magic weirdness.
I think what Andor also had going for it was a very strong thematic through line. Most of the other Star Wars shows don't have like nearly as strong of a thematic core as Andor did.
I mean, Tony Gilroy is just an excellent writer, but that's another thing altogether.
Yeah.
But I mean, like that's kind of where Book of Boba Fett like really faltered too. Is like, it tried to do a lot and couldn't do any of it because it didn't really understand like who Boba Fett is and what Boba Fett means as a character, particularly within the greater fan context. And then you have on top of all of that, like it's expanding to be like essentially Obi-Wan and Mandalorian season 3 in a way that doesn't really help its case or focus on on Boba Fett himself. Right? Like the story would have been far more, I hesitate to say better, but like at least more consistent if it just focused on Boba Fett and like the thematic legacy of Boba Fett as a character in the greater Star Wars myth and like legacy and who that character is to longtime fans. And really
be
playing
honest,
with that.
Legacy is a theme I absolutely fuck with, and I wish more series would actually delve into that thematic core because it's a really interesting theme to explore.
And like these shows are like Star Wars especially is like all about this idea of legacy. It's like baked into the concept. Right? Because like so much of the original trilogy is the passing of the torch from Yoda and Obi-Wan to Luke to correct the sins of the past, sins of the father. You have the prequel trilogy, which is like this sense of like the failure of tradition and the failure of pedagogy is what leads to Anakin's fall. And like essentially what happens when you have immoral or incorrect legacy being passed down. And the ways in which that happens through like mistreatment or poor mentorship. A la traditional Jedi Order to Anakin versus Palpatine to Anakin. And like so it's all, and then even with the sequel trilogy, like the whole thing is Rey and Kylo trying to figure out who they are in relationship to the old guard.
Too bad the last movie of that trilogy kind of fumbled the ball so hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, I do think Ahsoka is on the whole a very enjoyable show, and has a lot going for it, both thematically and character-wise. It does dip into the legacy quite a bit, especially with regard to Ahsoka's relationships with both Anakin and Sabine, because that's basically the core of the show. Also,
did Ezra show up? I forget.
Yes, Ezra does show up in the last few episodes.
Okay.
He's very fun. I think they did a good job with just nailing Ezra's attitude. The actor who played him did a really good job.
And like even Ezra as a character is also based on like he's carrying forward Kanan's will.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all of these characters are carrying forward baggage with them.
Something inherited will.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Star Wars and Legacy is a whole thing.
Again, Legacy is a theme I absolutely fuck with, and very good thematic core for a lot of material, especially if you are like given a good focus on it.
Right, and like again, I think that is the Mandalorian's failing in season 3 at least, is because it's trying. Huh?
We can discuss Mandalorian a little bit more in depth in a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, like it's good stuff in here. There are some bits and pieces here that I feel like aren't as well explored as they could be. Like excuse me, like the whole master apprentice thing on the dark side Force users.
Mhm.
But there is a lot of good material to work with. Thrawn also is really fucking good in this one.
I mean, Thrawn is a whole thing.
Thrawn is just really entertaining in general.
Yeah.
He has that magnificent bastard thing just down pat.
Uh-huh.
And you really see how very pragmatic and ruthless he is here as well. Which is, something you don't see a lot with Star Wars villains. A lot of Star Wars villains don't take the route of being a pragmatist or just utterly ruthless. They are just like, ha ha ha, my evil plan will succeed because I am evil. Mwahaha.
I mean, no, Jack, have you guys read the old Thrawn books?
I have not, actually. I've heard good things about the old Thrawn trilogy, though.
What about you, Mel?
I have not read any Star Wars books.
So the original, like, Timothy Zahn Thrawn books are incredible because, like, Thrawn is this kind of response to the weird horseshit that is the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in its later iterations.
Was this before or after the Palpatine clone bullshit?
Oh no, this is like EU legacy stuff.
Oh, well, no. I mean, there's a Palpatine clone bullshit in the old EU.
Kinda, yeah, but like that's still in there. But
Yeah.
like, Thrawn is like this like incredible like. His whole gimmick, at least within those books, is like he is such an excellent strategist that no one can match him.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big things is like he can like there's a weird like ethnos something with him because his whole thing is he looks at a painting and can know a culture, which is kind of weird.
I mean, it all wraps around to the fact that a lot of media treats Smart as having a lot of expertise in a lot of different fields, which is it's a whole other trope.
But like, Thrawn works because he's such a grounded villain, especially compared to the goofiness that is the Emperor.
Look, I love Grandpapa Sheev as much as the next guy, but yeah, he is utterly unserious a lot of the time.
I mean, look, I'm all like you said, I'm all here for like a goofy troll villain, and God knows we need more of them.
Yep.
But yeah, it is something to be said of like Sheev as a character does not. Yeah.
Right, we should probably move on so that we don't do what we did with the video game stream.
Video games?
Oh boy.
Sorry.
So let's move on to our first movie offering. It is a Marvel movie offering. It is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Is it bad of me to say that this is the dud of the year in terms of Marvel movies?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it makes sense.
Like, they're trying to hype up Kang, one of the big bads of all of the Marvel comics.
Best
with
will
this
in
movie.
the world. I like Ant-Man. I like Paul Rudd. Maybe don't do it in an Ant-Man movie.
Yeah, no, Kang does not really work with Ant-Man. If you're trying to scale your big final villain, and you're trying to hype him up, Ant-Man is not the Avenger to pit him against to start with. Especially if Ant-Man winds up beating him.
I mean, let's think back to Thanos, who, didn't even really... I mean, we saw him sat on his chair for, like, 2 acts.
Yeah. But when he finally steps down in Infinity War, he immediately curb stomps the Asgardian fleets.
Yeah, he bodies Thor,
Hulk.
Loki, and Hulk. He bodies Hulk so badly he doesn't want to come out anymore.
Yeah.
Like, and kills Loki.
Yeah.
Outright.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like, our first look at Kang is He Who Remains in the first season of Loki, and while he definitely he has a lot of charisma, but he's also very clearly more grounded than Thanos in terms of, like, powers, at least from what we can see.
Right. But he's also way more... Like, he's also far more terrifying.
Oh yeah, no, he has a much more sinister vibe to him.
Yeah, sinister is the way I would describe it, yeah.
Which is great. Like, if there's anything that, like, in relation to Star Wars, right, like, Marvel has this unserious villain streak, right, where no villain is serious, and every villain's kind of goofy and weird, and, like, that's fine, but Kang was their attempt to be, like, have a little bit more fun with it.
And look, Kang in the comics is pretty wild and insane as a villain, just because there's so many different versions of him, and that gets teased in the stinger for Quantumania. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there is, well, who knows if they're gonna actually do this, but like.
There's also the issue of the casting with Jonathan Majors, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But also, like...
have to bring up that elephant in the room.
I mean, Kang in the comics has a good counterpart, too, in the form of Iron Lad.
Yep. Who is interesting to think about. I wonder how they're going to handle him. Because they seem to be building up the Young Avengers, slowly but surely.
Right, like young Loki, all of that. But they also seem to be doing something interesting else, and this is a theory that I've found interesting. Is this idea of, like, they're creating human versions of the Infinity Stones?
Yeah, with Wanda, Loki, and Monica so far.
Oh, is that what happened to Monica?
There's a theory that she's being built up to basically become the Space Stone in human form. Just like, I'll talk about the Loki stuff when we talk about Loki Season 2, but Wanda seems to be set up as, like, the reality stone from all her reality warping bullshit.
I mean, to be fair, of the stones, the reality stone was the most, like, sinister.
It was the absolute most bullshit sinister one, yes. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff there with that theory. But with regard to Quantumania specifically, like, I feel like this was a bit too reliant on, like, the CGI visual eye feast thing of the alternate world of the quantum realm. Because a lot of the character stuff suffered. There were some really fun character moments here and there, and some really good jokes occasionally, but for the most part, a lot of it fell flat. Just because they were more focused on the world, on the exploration of this weird alternate world, rather than, like, digging into characters and what made them tick.
I honestly kind of wonder if this would have been better as a series rather than a movie.
It might have been. I do also think it suffered because it didn't have the comic relief trio in it.
That's it. Why can't you just shrink them down as well?
It would have been so fun to have Luis just recapping the movie at the end.
Yeah. Somebody... Like, fucking...
Somebody asked, where have you been the past 3 days? Well, you see...
Like, no, just, like, have Sam come looking for him, and just him just go off on a ramble, and it's like, Sam just getting more and more wide-eyed, it's like, okay,
What
Didn't
the
expect
fuck?
that.
I guess we're doing this today.
I mean, I've just been fighting some regular people. Yeah, super soldiers, yeah, but regular people at least.
Oh, speaking of the regular people stuff, we're not going to be talking about Secret Invasion because I don't think any of us watched it.
I mean,
No.
I haven't watched any Marvel stuff this year, I don't think.
Understandable. A lot of people are getting burnt out. I just have heard so many bad things about Secret Invasion. I don't want to touch it.
Though I've done my research into Loki season 2 because I am actually interested in that because Tom Hiddleston is fucking great.
The Loki season 2 was very good. I'll get into it when we get to that.
But yeah, like I haven't actually watched it beyond maybe some clips on YouTube.
Yeah.
I've been spoiled
Yeah.
on the big twist, obviously.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Quantumania, though, it was kind of a disappointment overall.
Yeah.
There were 2 other Marvel movies this year, and both are better, in my opinion.
Which is interesting,
we will get to those.
given one of them at the very least. But yes, we will get on to them. Let's move on to our first book. We're really going through the gamut here at the start, because we have Avatar, the Yangchen Duology.
These
I
are
have
so
the
fucking
audiobook.
good.
I have the audiobook, and I need to deal with those at some
They are
point.
so good. And part of what makes them so good is that they are not the expected genre that you'd get out of an Avatar book. Just like the Kyoshi books were kind of half action movie, half crime thriller. These are the Yangchen books lean heavy into the spy thriller stuff.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that does seem like Yang-Chen's vibe.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, it leans hard into the espionage spy shit, and I just fucking love it. It's great.
Based on what we knew about Yangchen prior to these books coming out, was this idea of Yangchen was always she was a war goddess, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Even more than Kyoshi ever was.
I mean, the thing with Yangchen is that you get the sense that she isn't as strictly adherent to the airbender morals in the way that Aang was, at least from her brief appearances in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Right.
But you definitely see just how much she has not necessarily strayed, but compromised on airbender morality in the course of her duties here.
I was gonna say, isn't Yangchen as violent as people think Kyoshi is?
Oh no, it's to the point
I
where
wouldn't say as violent, but definitely as ruthless.
Yeah.
What people forget is that Kyoshi is actually pretty peaceful comparatively.
Kyoshi is the fuck around and find out Avatar.
Yeah, people think that about Kyoshi because the one main appearance we got from her in the series was, yeah, I killed that dude. What are you gonna fucking do about it?
Yeah, again, he fucked around, he found out.
Whereas Yangchen is okay, you're finding out before you fuck around, because I'm too tired to deal with your shit.
It's very much a case of taking proactive measures to ensure a peaceful and balanced world, and a lot of that involves getting your hands dirty with some unpleasant stuff.
Right, and that is Yang, and it's to the point that's why her and Kuruk are such an interesting duo.
Oh, in terms of the succession, yeah.
Because in many ways, Kuruk is the Avatar spirit having to take responsibility for Yangchen's actions.
Mm-hmm. I do like the Kuruk stuff in the Kyoshi books. That's really interesting. I do kind of hope that there are actually books dedicated to Kuruk at this point, because
so there aren't books, there are comics.
Oh, okay.
At least as far as I'm aware of.
I'll have to look into that.
I've seen images of some of the things that he's had to deal with, such as fighting Father Glowworm, Face Stealer Co. And all
Ko
of
still
that.
gives me nightmares sometimes.
Right.
Which is terrifying.
So you know how Korra and Wan versus the versus what's his face, the evil spirit
Mm-hmm.
in
Batu.
Batu in book 2.
Mm-hmm.
Kuruk versus Father Glowworm was such a titanic fight that it almost broke the spirit world.
Mm-hmm. That
And like
tracks.
that is the level that Kuruk was trying to play at. And so like in many ways it's interesting to see what like essentially these two ancient avatars do compared to one another. Because like
Yangchen does some crazy bending shit in these books.
yeah,
I'm not gonna
no, 100%. Like it almost puts Kiyoshi and Roku to shame.
Almost. Kyoshi moved a fucking continent.
This
Or
is
at least
true.
a fragment of a continent. Which I do believe is still the biggest feat of physical bending we've seen in the series.
I believe it.
Like, the only thing that really compares is Aang teaming up with the ocean spirits to cause a fucking tsunami, but that was with the help of an ocean spirit. Yeah. No, the Yangchen's stuff is very interesting, and the rest of the supporting and main cast in her books also really work well in both bouncing off her as characters and just keeping the themes going.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the villains are unsurprisingly basically the Avatar world equivalent of corpos, so
Great,
that's
love
fun.
that.
It's great. Makes no bones about saying, yeah, rich people generally tend to be colossal assholes.
Correct. I have no notes.
Yeah, but no, these books are good. Definitely would recommend them. You don't need to read the Kyoshi books to appreciate these, and vice versa.
Which makes sense because they're very unrelated.
Yes, they're
Right,
only
like-
indirectly related through Kuruk, and his stuff is only like tangentially related to the stuff that takes place in the Yangchen books.
And like to be fair, like Kuruk, from what I've read and like heard, is very bitter. Like has a really rough relationship with Yangchen as a mentor avatar spirit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of good stuff. Yeah, should probably move on so we don't spend like 10 minutes on literally every single topic.
Alright, moving on then to the Barbie movie.
This was great.
This movie was so good.
Yeah, no, like it's not perfect by any means, but it's an excellent movie. It's very well thought out. It's very like it is one of those movies where you could tell that there was a lot of thought and effort put into all of like the choices that were made, both in front of the camera and behind it.
Yeah. There's a lot of intentionality behind the theming and writing in this movie. And it all turns out really well. Also, the performances, all on point. Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, 10 out of 10 performances, no notes.
Right. It's great. Like, even, like, I don't know. Like, the criticisms that have been levied against this movie are...
The good faith criticisms levied against the movie are generally that it's, like, basically just feminism 101, which, you know, I don't think that's a bad thing in and of itself.
No, especially with what's happening. The other main criticism that I've seen is that, and like this is not necessarily the movie's fault, but just the fault of like societal structures at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Is this like idea that it is up to essentially a woman of color to save everyone, but doesn't get the credit for doing so.
I don't think that's intentional, really.
Right, that's why I'm saying it that way. It's because it's not, it doesn't seem like it is. But it is like an unfortunate implication thereof.
Yeah. On the other hand, though, like, it being her who saves who plays a big role in saving the day is a positive thing.
Right.
All the characters are really well realized, I think, in the movie. Due in no small part to all the actors just being incredibly on point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even Will Ferrell's bits are very funny, even if he's, like, probably the most superfluous character in the movie.
Like, yeah, he is easily the weakest. Like, that segment, or his inclusion, is just weak. In a real way.
Again, there are some funny jokes here and there with him, but, like, yeah, he is nowhere near the strongest part of the movie. Yeah, it's still a very enjoyable movie, and I do think it is definitely worth watching. Just don't believe the slander directed at the movie from, the usual band of jackasses.
Bad faith actors, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, again, criticisms can be made, but those are genuine criticisms that are based in, like, feminist theory or kind of societal structure and the way...
Or just based off of, like, a person's own experiences with film or or perspectives on film.
Exactly. Whereas, like, the ones that the usual suspects one is like, okay.
Just eye-rolling, honestly.
Like,
yeah.
I don't want to give it too much air because I'm annoyed by it, but the one that really got my goat is the one about, like, oh, they did to Ken, like, it's so bad what they do to Ryan Gosling's character in this movie, and I'm like, that's the fucking point.
That's the entire point of Ken's character arc, yeah.
Yeah. Kind of
to say otherwise is disingenuous.
Right, like, and you need to have your antagonist face consequences. Like, come on, guys.
Mm-hmm. Ken is not the good guy here. He is a damaged person, yes, but he is not the good guy here.
No.
Yeah,
But,
no, it's really good stuff.
Also, some quite interesting cameos, appearances, I guess.
The cameos are fun.
From a me perspective. So again, Asim Chowdhury from Taskmaster Series 6.
Yep. Yep, I saw him.
Isn't Nkudi Gatwa also in it?
Yeah, Ncuti Gatwa, the new
That's
Doctor Who.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I fucked it up. That was a me thing. I fucked it up by saying Ncuti. I've been hearing interviews now, and it's Ncuti.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ncuti Gatwa, John Cena as well.
That was a funny cameo.
Rob fucking Brydon as Sugar Daddy Ken. Like,
I mean, even just the cameos of
Sugar's Daddy Ken. Remember,
but like also like like the inclusion of weird or very like archaic Barbie and Ken characters.
That was
like
also very good.
Like Midge and Alan and like Cochrane Ken and Sugar Daddy Ken.
Mm-hmm.
There was I think like they had it was like one of the older women was like a very important character. It was like
Kate McKinnon was the messed up Barbie.
Kate
McKinnon. Yeah. Yeah. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't shout out the absolutely buck wild set design for this movie. Yeah. And the costuming was also excellent.
Mm-hmm.
But
this.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Just a good movie, honestly. It's a fun time, very funny movie, and I would be remiss if I didn't recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on then. It's interesting that we mentioned Ncuti and Doctor Who, because the next up is the Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials.
I've heard a lot of fun things about these specials.
I
The
mean,
fact that they brought back a classic villain was great.
yeah,
Mhm.
Neil Patrick Harris went fucking ham as the toy maker, and it was great, like absolutely perfect.
Like the bits that I've seen are terrifying.
Oh no, it is absolutely terrifying, but it's also just so. He's just eating the scenery every time.
Right.
And like he keeps changing through these different fucking accents, which is there's a canonical reason for that as well, but he keeps doing it, and it's just whether they're good accents or bad accents, the point is it's not really the point. They're not supposed to be accurate. They're just supposed to be because I think if I remember correctly, the first Doctor beat the toy maker by copying his accent or something like that, and so this is why he keeps changing his accent so much in this one.
Right.
And in this one, it just comes down to the toy maker, Shudagawa in his underwear, and a David Tennant going commando.
Excellent. The only way to do it.
Playing a very vigorous game of catch, so everything was flopping around down there.
Yep. Again, no notes. I mean, look, everyone had like this. This is what everyone wanted, along with the return of Donna Noble.
Yep.
Who is Catherine Tate is still a fucking legend.
Yeah. Oh god, just when the memory block got broken, and she's like, I gave away all that money to be like you piece of shit. we are on the clock here. I cannot believe you. Just like, yeah, fucking great.
There's a reason everyone thinks of Donna as like the There are people who think of Donna as the Tennant companion.
Yeah.
Even more than Rose. Because Rose is more the ninths.
Well, there's also just the fact of like Donna being the first companion who wasn't bogged down in the romance bullshit and knew who. It was very much a platonic,
that is really
sister
nice.
thing.
Because the first few seasons of Tennant were really like kind of. It wasn't so bad in his first season, but there was definitely that undercurrent of tension there with Rose. Definitely affected.
Martha.
Definitely affected it with Martha. Poor Martha. She didn't deserve that. She got out and she knew when to get out. But yeah, just having that, just back and forth between Ten and Donna was just such a change, because even with Rose was able to spar with the Doctor a little bit, but nowhere near to the same extent as Donna.
And like that's partially because Tate and Tennant have such a good rapport with one another that they can do that without on a dime.
Yeah.
I remember that one bit where they're just pantomiming at each other through windows on opposite sides of a room.
That's just
they just get so into it they don't realize that the villain has already noticed them.
Yeah.
It's such a great bit.
And the other thing that bring back both Tennant and Donna means that Tennant, who to a certain extent kind of got one of the badder endings.
The biggest downer send off.
Yeah, one of the badder endings for the revival Doctors. I don't know necessarily about the classic Doctors, but certainly for the revival ones, I would say he probably got one of the worst endings.
I mean, discounting the first three because those are not easily accessible. I think 6 had the worst ending.
I mean, 6 was also struggling with the BBC not really wanting to keep going with Doctor Who.
Didn't 7 also have a really short run after 6?
7 was only the movie.
No, 8 was
No,
the movie.
8 was
No.
the movie.
8 was the movie.
8
Yeah.
was the movie.
I think was just like one season or two.
Yeah, Paul McGann, because he, like, the bits that I've seen of him, and I really want to get his audio specials, he seemed like he really got the role and was really good at it. It's a damn shame we
Yeah,
did not get
he
more
got
with
screwed
him.
over by the network.
Yeah.
I mean, even like the little bits we got of 8 with like the audio dramas and like the pre-transformation before we got the War Doctor.
Yeah.
And like even the War Doctor, Jesus, I would pay to watch poor John Hurt
Yeah.
be the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I miss John Hurt.
Yeah, he passed away recently.
Yeah.
Him and Wilfred.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So obviously it means that 10, obviously it's 14, but really 10 gets, you know, a happier ending. It means that Donna gets a happy ending because she really didn't.
Oh my god, that was so bad. That was such a sad ending.
It really was. As I said, it was not a good ending for her or 10.
There were a lot of downers that season, if I recall correctly.
And 10's run together.
I mean, it was sort of a consequence of changing showrunners, so going from Russell T Davies to Stephen Moffat, and therefore wanting basically a clean start with Smith. So
And, like,
basically,
let's not downplay the fact that Smith was also excellent as a Doctor.
oh no,
but...
Smith is my favorite Doctor. Like, I love Tennant, I love Eccleston, I love Capaldi, I love parts of what I've seen with Jodie. I really wish she got better writing, but the bits.
I mean, so does everyone.
I think she's a absolutely fantastic actress in the role. It's just that the stuff she got to do was kind of shit. And I love what I've seen from Shooty so far, but Smith is my Doctor. Like, Smith is the Doctor that I will go back to time and time again, of just that old man in a young man's body that he just
did that so well.
Embodied so well.
It was best, like, you could see it really in the Time War special.
Yeah.
The 50th, I think it was.
Yeah, 50th. Yeah.
Like, especially.
I need to go
how...
back and watch more of the Doctor Who, honestly.
Because like
that's on Disney Plus, right?
Yes, it is.
It
now.
should be now, yes. Because like compared to how 10 and even John Hurt play their Doctors, you could tell that that 11 is old.
I mean, it's the different ways that the actors played the Doctor, and it goes into what Clara said at the end of that special. John Hurt was a warrior, and you could see that in the efficiency of his movements, in the efficiency of what he did. 10 was
even his mannerisms.
Yeah, 10 was a hero. You know, he was always trying to redeem himself after what he did, you know, with or what he thought he did in the Time War. Always.
Right.
And especially considering, you know, given, you know, how he acted as Eccleston as well, it was very clear that he wanted to be that type of person for Rose.
Eccleston was very much a bitter atoner type character.
But also, like, Eccleston is, like, Eccleston was also a character dealing with that, like, PTSD, essentially.
Yes. No, absolutely. And, you know, that change was almost the Doctor trying to go, okay, now's the time to try and move forward, try and redeem myself, and let's get going. Whereas Smith, you know, he's lost Rose, he's lost Donna, Martha left him, and he's all alone. And you know, he gets to know the Ponds. He comes to love the Ponds in this weird found family that they have, and you know, and to be brutally honest, you know, Donna does it a bit, but Rory is really the first companion in the revival to call the Doctor out.
Yeah.
And you really
also,
sort of see that start to affect him more and more as time goes.
And you also get the sound, like, the full sad clown that is Matt Smith's Doctor.
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah.
We should probably just do a podcast on
No,
Doctor
we absolutely should. I'm fairly sure I put it on the list.
Let me rewatch all the new Who stuff first, because that'll take a while.
Did I not put? Oh no, I did put Doctor Who on there. Good. I did put Doctor Who on there. I thought I had, but yeah. No, Smith and Capaldi does really well as, you know. Again, he doesn't get the best writing at times, and I especially think his first season is not great because it goes.
Moffat just like a very hit or miss writer.
Because it goes into a weird, like, romantic platonic love triangle with the soldier dude that just doesn't really work. But yeah, no, really great to see Tennant back. Really great to see, because not just getting Donna back, it's also getting Donna's family back. And
Oh my god.
I love her mum as just this, like, wants to be this, you know, polite English woman, but also kind of hates the Doctor. Kind of.
I mean,
really
given what
fucking
happened with
hates him.
Donna, I'm not shocked.
I mean, it always comes back to the final two-part special of Tennant, of her just seeing him talking to Wilf and just going, "You can't be here. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas." What if she sees you? Just that instant of, "Oh yeah, I've got to be polite," and just. And obviously, getting to see Wilf one last time was, and knowing that was the very last thing that Bernard Cribbins filmed, and that he passed away not long after. Just
It's always a bittersweet thing seeing the last performance of an entertainer.
And
Wilfred Mott especially is like it's weird because like for fans of Tenet, like Wilfred Mott is like such a central figure who's not a main character.
Yeah,
because
like,
he was the one who watched Ten die.
He was the last companion of 10, wasn't he?
Technically so, yeah, because he was basically the companion for that last two-parter. And I think people would have given organs to see a full season of Wilf as the companion. Because he was just wonderful. Yeah. But yeah, so the first special, great. Also, Miriam Margolyes just fucking killing it as the Meep. I will say, as much as I appreciate the inclusion of the scene, the whole pronouns thing was a little shoehorned in, even for my taste.
Yeah,
a little
bit.
Was. It felt
but considering,
forced, but I'm not gonna complain about it because.
Yeah, but considering the state of the British Isles at the moment.
I know, and I'm glad that it pissed off the right people. But even I was like, "Oh boy, that's a little bit of a hammer." I'm not sure how more delicately they could have done the scene while still getting the same message across. So again, fine, I don't care.
Sometimes you need to drop an anvil on someone.
Yeah, it's one scene in 3 specials. Fuck it, let's go. And you know, you had really good stuff with Donna's daughter Rose, who great. And I really hope she appears more as well, because
they had to name her Rose for maximum pain value, of course.
Oh, 100%.
Well, yeah, because it was that first scene of Tennant walking out, seeing somebody struggling with boxes and going, "Oh, I'll help," seeing that it's Donna and just putting the boxes right back, just like walking away, and then.
Excellent.
And then hearing Donna's husband shouting, "Rose! Rose! What? Just doing the Tennant what's. It's just great. Absolutely perfect.
And it does a great what.
Yeah, and then the middle one was just genuinely really fucking creepy. Really fucking creepy. because it was...
It's almost like Russell T Davies and Tennant are good at writing their character.
Yeah, because it was...
Also the horror.
Because it was basically just the two of them. The two actors just in the same scene together. Like, because it was the two of them stuck on a spaceship with two beings from outside the universe who are trying to figure out what it is to... how to actually be, you know, fucking... like humanoid, I guess, rather than humans, considering, you know, Time Lord. But like figuring things out. Like at one point, the one acting as Tennant took off his tie and dropped it, and then later in the scene, Donna realizes the tie is gone, and he just goes, "Oh, that's right. When things go away, they still remain." And it's just that oh fuck moment of oh Jesus Christ. And yeah, it's really fucking creepy and really well done.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Shooty being like super camp is great.
Also, like, there are interviews with him talking about his screwdriver, and it's great.
I mean, also talking about how Tennant choosing which clothes he wanted to keep first meant that he had to be in his underwear for the rest of the special. Also great. No, I love Doctor Who. It's a really fucking fun series, and I'm really looking forward to the Christmas special. Especially considering how much it's already pissed people off. Fuck it. Keep pissing them off. I don't care. I'm just gonna keep enjoying it. Like, I am here for Russell T Davies just going, yeah, I'm gonna fuck off the worst parts of the fandom. Any way I can.
House sometimes.
Yeah. Fuck it. If you don't like it, go just keep rewatching the stuff you've already got. The stuff isn't for you. But we should move on to the next piece of media, which is a movie. It is Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
This is such a good, fun movie. The people behind this movie understood the appeal of Dungeons and Dragons.
That's good.
They did their homework. And there's just a bunch of funny little bits here and there throughout the movie, like that are like little bits of lore. Like there's this one bit where all the heroes are sneaking past a couple of intellect devourers, and none of them go for them because all of them are classes that have a
all of them are too
as a dump
all of them
stat.
are too dumb. Yeah.
Yeah, all of them have int as a dump stat.
I love the D&D movie was good.
It was very good. The actors were all on point with this one. Hugh Grant did a really good job playing like an especially smarmy, hateable villain. Which is, you know, Hugh Grant whenever he plays a villain, but still, he did a really good job with it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole cast was on point, and they really got into it for sure. Just like had a lot of fun, but also nailed like just the general character dynamics and characterization that they were going for.
That's good.
And the effects were really good. It was a good mix of practical and CGI throughout the movie. Yeah, there was a... Did you watch the movie again?
What?
You watched this one, right?
Yes. I mean, there was a lot like, I love the fact that it's being told, like, in Media Res, it starts with, like, Chris Pine as the Bard, who I think was an excellent casting.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was a good movie. It was a fun time. It's not my favorite movie of the year, but it was a good time.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to go into more detail than that on this movie, honestly, because it's just a very fun, straightforward movie with classic D&D bullshit. Like, one point, they accidentally collapse a bridge they need to get across, and then they realize, oh wait, we have a portal staff in our bag. Let's use that to get across. Almost like a DM is just writing in a hasty rewrite to help them, because they fucked up.
Yeah. And to be honest, it kind of would have been, like... It wouldn't have been a D&D movie if it had been, like, super serious and...
Oh, absolutely.
With, you know, a big message. It should just be a bunch of fucking idiots coming together and causing some chaos. Like, obviously you can have D&D campaigns where you get serious. I mean, ours can get pretty serious at times, but, you know...
Sometimes D&D's just gotta be silly.
Yeah. Sometimes D&D is just your party planning to infiltrate a party and just like deciding, you know what? Jam tarts are the favorites of the rebel queen. We're gonna start planning them on people just to create a distraction. Oh no, we accidentally got a bunch of people executed. Whoopsie.
Whoopsie. Yeah, no, this movie's a good time. Lots of funny jokes too, both in with playing with lore and just like as general jokes, and it's a fun movie. It's not super deep or anything, but it's a good time.
Right, and like this is the perfect example of a movie doesn't need to be deep to be fun.
Yeah.
Or to be good.
Yeah, exactly.
And like there are themes in it, but like it's not trying to do a lot. And that's fine.
I mean, it has a very simple theme of family being who you choose it to be, and
which
learning
is also
learning to move on.
It's also the D&D story.
Yeah.
So, you know,
that's really it in a nutshell.
I, look forward to seeing it when I can.
It's on Amazon Prime.
I did know that, and I keep meaning to watch it, and then I keep getting distracted by other things. It'll probably be in the new year once I'm less busy with stuff. But, maybe I'll watch it with my mum. We'll see.
Honestly, I watched it with my brother, my mom, and my mom really enjoyed it, despite not knowing a damn thing about D&D.
Maybe it can be a family thing at Christmas. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
But considering there is, it's not that deep, and
it's a good, fun time that you can enjoy with just about anyone, as long as they like, action adventure movies.
Yeah.
Right.
But we can probably move fairly quickly on then to...
Oh boy.
The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England.
So the first of the secret projects we're tackling is also the worst of them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate. So Brando Sando did a thing where he secretly wrote 5 fucking books in a single year, on top of all the shit he was already doing, because he was bored during the pandemic.
Yeah, apparently socializing was just a limiter for Sanderson.
I mean, that's the limiter for a lot of people.
Yeah. But yeah,
Sanderson specifically.
This is definitely the weakest of his works. That is one of the secret projects that he put out, and it's also the only one that's not connected to the Cosmere in any way. So I have to wonder if that's related or anything, or if it's just like it was an experiment he tried that just didn't work. Because this was Brando Sando's take on isekai.
Yeah,
basically.
And it's just... It's not good.
Yeah.
So, like, it's every isekai you've ever seen.
Except instead of being in a generic JRPG setting, it's not medieval England, basically.
This is still generic fantasy RPG.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It's just a different kind of generic fantasy RPG. And regardless, it is nowhere near Brandon's.
Yeah. So not even Sanderson can make isekai good, is what I'm hearing.
There are good isekais out there. They are just so vanishingly few. They are like the extreme end of Sturgeon's Law.
Yeah, The good one is called Alice in Wonderland.
But yes, there are some things to like about this, but this is the only one of the secret projects I didn't even finish.
Yeah, that
I
makes
just
sense.
could not get myself, bring myself to really get behind it. The vibe just didn't work for me. Which is unfortunate, because Sanderson's prose usually works pretty well for, like, straightforward, lighthearted fare when he's trying to do that. I just don't think the overall vibe of the setting or the characters really worked for me.
And like, I just got annoyed at the main characters. Like, how do I describe it? I like the idea of what you believe is what makes it real. Like, that is such a cool idea. And I love the idea of, like, of, like, the fact that the magic of the world functions, or, like, structurally, is stories and storytelling is what makes the magic work. And I think that's dope as hell. I hate that there's a cop in it.
Yeah, and it's the main character.
Not even. It's like kind of just this dick.
Okay.
Because like, no, I'm talking about like the guy's best friend.
Oh, okay.
Because he also shows up.
Lovely.
How far in did you get?
I don't remember. I dropped it like midway through somewhere.
That's fair.
I think it was like right after he sets the boat on fire.
Okay, so you haven't. So there's a reveal that the girlfriend.
I don't care about spoilers. Just fucking spoil me, man.
Yeah, the girlfriend of the main character, who he thought was dead because of him, was actually just in hiding.
Okay.
Essentially functionally in witness protection, and partially chose to do that so that she could get away from him and be with his best friend.
Okay.
And that adds to like this idea of the main character is such a fuck up that he's not even well liked even by people he thought liked him.
God damn, that's brutal.
It's so gross, and I hated every second of it. And there's no real comeuppance.
It seems unnecessarily mean-spirited.
Yeah, it was just not fun. Like after that, like other than that, it was fine. I like the way they do Loki in this book. Loki's really cool. Odin's a dick as is usual. Yeah, no, it's great. It's good in every other sense, but like it's just these key things are making it not fun to read.
Yeah, I just did not enjoy the vibe.
Yeah, and that's kind of the correct read, at least in my mind.
But yes, we have better secret projects to tackle further down the line here, but we should probably move on to something that was incredibly good.
Moving on to the second of 3 Marvel movies, it is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
I did not watch this one.
You got burnt out on the second one, didn't right?
I really didn't like the second one.
On the one hand, I don't blame you. On the other hand, this movie is fucking phenomenal. But I also should add that there are so many trigger warnings for animal abuse and body horror in this movie.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch it. I've just kind of accepted that it's kind of the vibe. That's the thing that's gonna happen now.
I don't blame you. If it does not fit your sensibilities, it'd be a rough watch. Because again, so many content warnings for this movie, Jesus Christ. Regardless, it is an extremely good movie that does a lot of tackling of like trauma and how to cope with trauma and survivor's guilt, and just dealing with the idea of impermanence, how things change, and you are not the same. You will never be the same person that you were before. You are always growing. And of course, there's also the whole thing of the consistent theming of these movies in particular of dealing with abusive parents and or creators, and in general just kicking the shit out of them.
Right.
Like the beatdown the High Evolutionary receives towards the end of the movie is incredibly satisfying, even if it is pretty brief. Because he gets it's just like a very quick, thorough beatdown from each of the Guardians getting a good hit in.
Mm.
But damn if it isn't cathartic. Like, the High Evolutionary is probably one of the most vile villains in the MCU. But,
I mean, that was true.
But, yeah, the Guardians movies have some really fucking evil villains in them. Jesus. Yeah, sorry, you were trying to say something again?
No, I was just... Yeah, I mean, the High Evolutionary is just the worst.
Mm-hmm. Anyone who tortures animals like that is just a monstrous human being.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the actor behind High Evolutionary, though, was like, he felt so bad about playing that kind of character because he's an animal lover, and is like, on the one hand, it's good to showcase that this behavior is awful and cruel and evil, but on the other hand, I have a hard time doing this because, oh god, I hate this so much. Yeah. The movie's good, and it does have like a big status quo shift at the end with several of the Guardians leaving, and Rocket basically making a new Guardians as its new leader.
Nice.
And we do have the promise of the new Guardians likely returning at some point, which I do hope happens, even if James Gunn isn't attached to them, on the one hand. But on the other hand, like, James Gunn definitely had a huge role in making these movies what they were. Like,
Right.
his voice is very clearly present throughout these movies. And yeah, no, it's still really good stuff. Like, there's a lot of really good action sequences, a lot of really good character work. There is a really kick-ass one-take hallway fight scene towards the end of the movie, set to a Beastie Boys soundtrack, a Beastie Boys track. That was just fucking amazing. Yeah. If you enjoy the Marvel movies and you can stomach the content warning stuff, then I would definitely recommend watching this one. It's like, honestly, I think it's the best MCU movie since Endgame, besides maybe Spider-Man No Way Home.
Nice.
Yeah. Moving on to another space opera adventure.
We move on to The Last Horizon Books 1 and 2, because Will White went fucking full Sanderson.
You
this
also went
year.
ham.
Yeah. Never go full Sanderson. He is apparently going to take a break in the new year.
Probably a good idea.
But yeah, I mean, these are the first two books of the new series, and they're pretty fun.
They are very fun.
I think the first one takes a little bit to get going, but once Ryan is added to the mix, it really starts,
Yeah, it really comes into its own at that point.
really starts going at a good pace.
It's a fun time. It's a very
Yeah.
fun series.
I really, like, in the first book, I really enjoy the, like, Ryan and Varric's, like, rapport. I love Horizon being just overly
Top
goofy.
tier girl failure. Just top tier
Uh,
girl failure. and the dynamics of the characters are starting to grow and evolve, and so far they are very fun and interesting. Like there is potential for growth amongst these character dynamics, and some of them are better than others. Like Varric probably has the best overall dynamics with each member of the crew, but some of the other intercrew dynamics are also developing in really fun ways. I do especially love Ryan and his peppy enthusiasm for literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's great.
Except Omega.
Oh yeah, no, he hates Omega.
It's
hilarious.
Even then, he's starting to like get in with Omega in the second book, which is pretty great.
Oh yeah, no, he's worming his way into Omega, just like trying to get Omega to.
Omega will be a friend because Omega is still sometimes friend-shaped.
Yeah.
He is shaped in many different ways, but occasionally that is friend-shaped, yes.
And Ryan will take advantage of that.
Yes.
I will say Sola is great.
Sola's real fun, yeah. She's a lot more low-key than Ryan, though.
Yes, and I think that's fine, especially considering feels like an alternative to Yaren.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's that same style of character. And so, like, to have her be more subdued secondary character voice is a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And I do, in the second book, enjoy, like, this moment of, I've kind of I did the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What now?
It's very much an and then what type thing.
And also, like, her dealing with, like, not being enough. Like, in a book series full of nigh gods, like Neuron gods, kind of duking it out. She's like, I'm not good enough. Meanwhile, she's part of that group. And, like, I really am excited to see what happens and, like, what her quest eventually ends up being.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be interesting. I do wonder where they're going to put, where Will's going to put her focus book, because we have the captain and the engineer so far as the titles, and I get the sense that at least, if it's going to be at least 6 books, they're going to have titles for each of the crew positions, and a corresponding focus.
The last book is going to be called Zenith, let's be honest.
Either that or Horizon.
Yeah. Or The Last Horizon.
Serious title drop, yep.
Yep.
But also, I do feel like Ryan's focus book is going to be comparatively late, concerning that his threat is much larger scale than anything else.
It's like it's inter-iteration, whereas like everything else is within the iteration itself.
Oh yeah, speaking of iterations, we got a nice juicy tidbit in at the end of the second book.
Yeah, that really had me going, oh no.
Oh no.
Which was a very different oh no than the one I had.
Oh, when Starhammer just started going full
The minute you saw Ryan not be okay, it's like, oh no.
Yeah. And then of course you have Starhammer going full Homelander, which was also terrifying.
I don't think the inspiration was Homelander. The inspiration was Injustice.
Either Injustice or the Plutonian.
So, the bit at the beginning with the wife of Superman being killed by by a clown. That's what happens in the beginning of Injustice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Also, I love how like nonchalant it all is. It's like, it's great.
Okay, I've saved your wife. Don't go crazy. Don't go crazy and take over the universe, please and thank you. I gotta go.
Meanwhile, I was like, what? What?
I do also like the description of Starhammer is basically Space Superman. Because I remember reading his actual physical description, doing a double take, and like, wait, that's actually Superman.
Yeah, the glasses gave it away.
Yeah. I do love the riff that Varric does on Clark Kenting.
Oh yeah, that was also great. But yeah, there's also the fact that between the two villains of the books, there's a really nice
Very big contrast, yeah.
yeah, really nice contrast of, Starhammer is taking over the contrast, but also sort of similarities, because, the Iron King thought the Iron King thought he was gonna do some good for the galaxy by taking it over and remaking it in his own image.
Yeah, the difference is the Iron King is going full assimilation plot all of the Borg, whereas Starhammer is more like, I will protect everyone even if I have to do so by force, a la Injustice Superman, going full fallen superhero type thing.
I mean, the other thing is both villains are characters who embody pure order.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, whereas all of your hero characters are chaotic in some way, shape, or form.
I mean, looking at it from the outside, they all seem villainous.
They are villains, each and every one of them. It's great. The only one who isn't is Ryan.
Even Ryan with his corrupted Titan.
Yeah. He's more Psycho Ranger at this point. But the main characters being more chaotic makes me interested to see what Will does, where Will will put them within the way, within the greater cosmology. Because it seems like he might actually be angling them for being part of the Vroshir.
Maybe. It's hard to say for sure.
Right? Because think about it this way, right?
We'll know for sure if there's a pattern depending on who the villain of the next book is.
But
I've actually got an update on that one. So, because I knew there was a Reddit post.
Is that the time?
I knew there was a Reddit post.
The timeline drop?
But apparently will more or less confirm the book order during the pre-release stream, and the Knight is actually next.
Oh shit! I did not expect that.
The only of the villains that Varric faces with each of the other characters, in his other lives, is you have the Dennis.
Those are more chaos than anything else, though.
Right, the Dennis are chaos in general, are pure chaotic. The Iron King, which is order. Starhammer, also an character of order. Solstice, which is about maintaining the current galactic order or current status quo. And then
the Perfected.
The Perfected, which is about essentially creating a race of supermen. Essentially creating a essentially doing eugenics to create a perfect society.
Yep.
And so it's not surprising that it's Ryan's villain that is the odd one out, because Ryan as a character is the odd one out compared to the others. And so
I mean, he's kind of the morality chain for these group of kind of ruthless people who are just yeah, I kind of want to just kill these people and get it over with.
Yeah. Also, if we're going personal villains, you can make the argument that Varric's personal villain is his father, who is, the head of a megacorp.
Right. Maintaining the galactic order of economics. But
it is an interesting observation, and I do wonder how much that will bear out in the later stage of the series, because we don't know how many books the series is going to have, to my knowledge. Right. Unless Will confirm that in the live stream, Mel?
So at least 6, I think, is the
that's expected.
Is the current, because it goes Captain, Engineer, Knight, Pilot, Commander, Sword.
Oh, so Sola's going last. Interesting.
Though there is somebody else who's posted the ship underneath. So there might be a seventh. I'm not sure. I didn't see the stream.
Okay.
So 6 or 7, let's say.
Hmm. Good to know.
The other thing I really kind of like about this series is the shifting of perspectives from first person with Varric to third person with everyone else.
Yeah, because Varric is our central character.
Mm.
So of course he'd be first person for him.
But yeah, like usually if you get a first person perspective, you just follow that person.
Sometimes you get multiple first person perspectives, but that's usually like you get to, you know who it is based on the chapter heading usually.
Yeah. But certainly I've not seen a series that does both, and so I thought it was really interesting, and it's been really well done so far.
It's actually a choice I considered using for something I was for one of the things I was writing.
But it also means we do...
It kind of a...
Go ahead.
Just kind of a way to delineate who the protagonist is from everyone else.
But yeah, it also means that we do get outside perspectives on Varric, which means you can get a very funny moment of going from one perspective where it's like, oh man, this wizard dude is like really, really calm and collected, and he's seems like he's
and
ready,
then you get his internal
anything.
monologue where he's freaking the fuck out.
Yeah, you get to his internal monologue where he's like, why the fuck am I doing this again? I thought the point...
I love that. I always love that.
I thought the point of this was supposed to be to avoid this shit.
Or
Damn
even
it,
the other way
Horizon.
around. Or even on the other way around, right? Where it's like instead of it being like it's like Varric is like, oh yeah, we'll do this, this, and this. It's gonna be simple. And then you cut to a normal person like Mel going, excuse me, what?
Yeah.
Did you just fucking say?
I do like that Mel is basically the most normal person on the group, just because it
even
puts into
then,
perspective
she's
the
not.
insanity.
I mean,
I did say relatively.
I mean, I did really
comparatively.
like the gym scene where you've got Solar just running all out for a human and just not slowing down. Chirax just fucking blurring away. Ryan lifting the weight of a freighter and then having to be enclosed in his own bubble so that the sheer speed and light coming off of him doesn't blind everyone. Omega is oozing the treadmill forwards.
Excellent. Just
And then you have Mel just panting and gasping, trying to keep up a steady jog.
Yeah.
again. Mwah.
It's excellent. It's excellent all around.
So yeah, really enjoyable series. Really looking forward to where it goes in the future.
Probably going to be a while before we get book 3 because Will's taking that break.
Yeah. That said, he is counting down at the moment.
That's not ominous at all.
Yeah, hence why we both posted this wedding gifts.
So we're currently at Black Flame. So in 4 more hours we should hit Unsold, and then another 2 hours after that we'll probably hit whatever is being announced.
Wait, don't we have Soulsmith before Unsold?
Yeah, 4 more hours. It's every 2 hours.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
So Soulsmith 2 hours from now, Unsold 4 hours from now, and probably either just after or 6 hours from now it'll be whatever's being announced. I've seen some people theorizing that it's it might be something to it might be like the webcomic adaptation of Cradle that's been sort of bandied about. But we shall see. But yeah, Last Horizon, very good, very enjoyable. Yeah,
it's a good start to a good series so far.
Yeah. Is there anything else I wanted to say? I mean, other than that, Travis Baldry is still doing a great job as the audiobook narrator.
Oh, his audiobooks are great.
Yeah.
So
shit! I forgot to put his new book on the list. Damn it. Okay, whatever. It's fine.
we
It's
can
fine.
discuss it next year once I've read them both as well.
Yeah.
Let's move on then to Loki season 2.
Damn, this was good stuff. Just so fascinating too. Like all the time bending bullshit that happened in this season was really wild and interesting. Like you got Loki at one point early on, just straight up unstuck from time and just bouncing around the time frame of the TVA.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get when he manages to finally fix that. Also, Kehi Kwan is in this season, and he is also fucking great.
Is he OB?
Yeah, he's OB, Ouroboros.
Yeah.
Just great character.
Uh-huh.
And of course, Kehi Kwan is just absolutely fantastic actor. He just steals every scene he's in. Yeah. Now there's some really crazy time stuff in this season. I do love the final episode, partially just because it has some really fun Groundhog Day bullshit going on in it. Like I said, a lot of experimental time shit going on. You don't mind spoilers, do you? Mill?
No, I don't care.
I mean, I've read the summaries for episodes, so I pretty much know what's happening now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, spoilers, of course, because we already have the spoiler warning up. But yeah, the ending of the season is really interesting and really cool, just because it concludes Loki's character arc in a very fascinating and satisfying way, I think. And by having him basically become the god of stories, like he is at points in the comics.
That is so good, honestly.
It's very good. He basically becomes the core of the new cosmic order of the multiverse. Basically weaving things together as the seed that becomes the new Yggdrasil. It's just
he gets his throne.
Yep. He gets his throne. And yet he's still alone at the end of time, weaving all these stories together. It's a very bittersweet thing, but damn if it isn't poignant. Like, there's just so much good stuff in here, too. I do like all the glimpses into, like, the various characters' previous lives before they were taken to the TVA, because that was really neat. I do love that Owen Wilson was a jet ski salesman. Just feels so on brand. It does make sense, and it is very funny. Just like you see him like when they cut to his original life, it's like, oh, he's riding on a jet ski, and oh no, he's just filming an ad for his jet ski sales company. That's very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The cast is, of course, stellar in their acting, but Tom Hiddleston just gives his A game throughout this entire season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, damn if he isn't on point in almost every scene he's in. Yeah, this is really good stuff. Like, there's been a lot of good stuff in this season, Loki, but like, just the overall development of the cast, especially Loki's overall character arc, has just been phenomenal. But yeah, it's the kind of thing you kind of have to watch for yourself to get the real gist of the experience, I think. But we should probably move on to unless you have something else to say.
I mean, like I said, I've been watching clips and it does seem good. Whether I'm willing to sit down and watch, however many 6-hour-long episodes for it.
I don't think any of the episodes are actually a full hour long. They're all fairly short. They're like 40-ish minutes on average.
Still.
Let me look, actually. So the longest episode of the season is the finale, which is just shy of an hour. The rest of them average out at about 50 minutes.
Still, I don't know. I don't know if I'm willing to do that. I mean,
No, I get it.
I will be getting a Disney Plus subscription back for Percy Jackson, so maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, if you have the time while you have the subscription, might as well give it a crack. Loki is one of the best shows on there.
It is. Loki is very good. Again, part of it is just Tom Hiddleston is just fantastic, and he clearly understands the role.
Honestly, I think all the main cast did a fantastic job. Yeah, Tom Hiddleston was definitely the standout. But we should probably move on.
Yep, we can move on to The Mandalorian Season 3.
So we talked about this a bit earlier, but the big thing that made this particular season suffer more than the previous two was just scope creep, I think. Like, on the one hand, it's very good material, but on the other hand, like, the material has a lot of issues when it comes to just focusing on other characters besides the main duo a bit too much.
Right, and just like it doesn't do the Mandalorians justice either, I feel.
It kind of does in some ways, but not in others. Because
Like it
does portray them as the skilled people that they are, but on the other hand, like, they get really, really, really screwed over in terms of just how much they've suffered.
Also, Bo-Katan, I feel like it's a character assassination here.
I don't fully agree on that. I do feel like she does get a bit shortchanged, though. Like, in terms of, like, making her a bit too incompetent in some areas. I do think, though, that Giancarlo Esposito does a great job in his swan song as Moff Gideon. You could tell he was doing his damnedest to just... well, not doing his damnedest, just having a fun time with the role. But yeah, like, I do feel like a lot of it was... this was definitely the weakest season of The Mandalorian so far, even if there are these good moments here and there throughout the season. But it's just like... It definitely suffers from both scope creep and a lack of focus for much of the season.
Right.
Also, the surprise Jack Black cameo took me off guard.
Oh, was this the show with Jack Black and Lizzo?
Yes.
Yes.
That people got all fucking up in arms about because they're fucking assholes?
Yes, they are assholes. Correct. Yeah, no, the Jack Black and Lizzo cameos were not bad at all. That episode was on the weaker side, but it was still a fun episode. I just wouldn't characterize it as, like, top-tier Star Wars stuff. Like I would with The Mandalorian for Season 1, for example. Yeah, have you watched Season 3 again, or just...
I've just heard. Heard.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, it's overall just kind of like... It's the weakest season of the show so far. It suffers a lot of the issues that Season 2 had, but worse. A lot of continuity creep and scope creep. And also just kind of, like, nerfs the Mandalorians a lot here and there, while also trying to play them up. Which is kind of, paradoxical, but that's what they're going for. Yeah. It's still overall fairly good, it's just not at the highs that the first two seasons were at.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And like, there needs to come a point where like they can't keep doing cool dad. Like this story's gonna grow old really quick soon.
Like, yeah. I do like that the season ends with basically Mando being semi-retired.
Right.
Because
I
that's
do think,
nice.
and I will admit that the reveal that what's his I forget the actor's name, but the guy who voiced Jar Jar Binks
Oh yeah, Ahmed Best.
got to have his redemption.
Oh yeah, no, that was great. Him saving Baby Yoda was just phenomenal.
So no canonical Darth Jar Jar yet?
Sadly,
No,
no.
Ahmed Best plays a Jedi in this, who is not connected to Jar Jar. Still a good role, though. Yeah, I'm happy for Ahmed Best.
Yeah, he deserves it because like it was a rough go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had a bad time.
Star Wars fans are kind of monsters.
Only kinda.
Yeah. I'm trying
I'm
trying to allow for the ones that aren't, but you know.
Yeah. Honestly, there will always be properties where superfans will be colossal dickheads, and the bigger the property, the more of them there will be, just because of proportionality of the fan base. If 1 in 1,000 people in a fandom are assholes, then the bigger the fandom, the more assholes. But yes. Anything else to say on this one, Gen?
No.
Yeah, I've more or less said what I need to say on it as well.
Alright, let's move on to our final Marvel movie offering. It is The Marvels.
Honestly, I feel like this movie gets a bit too much flack. It's a fun movie. It has a lot of fun performances going for it, and the character stuff isn't like super deep or anything, but I do like the central dynamic between the three leads, Kamala, Carol, and Monica. They develop a really nice rapport between the three of them. And I think that's nice. And it's nice to have a big blockbuster movie with a primarily female main cast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that doesn't really get done enough.
No.
Since so many action movies are basically like sausage fests.
Unfortunately, by design.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, it's a fun movie. The performances are really good throughout. And there's some actually really funny jokes throughout the movie. That, again, I know there is one sequence towards the climax of the movie that I think you would absolutely adore, just because of how absurd it is. And because of the particular musical choice they make for that scene.
Oh, nice. I'll be interested to see it. Because I actually haven't seen this movie. I would
recommend... It's a pretty short movie, actually, so you could probably sit down and watch it and like it if you have the time. Like, it's less than 2 hours, which is pretty short for a Marvel movie. But yeah, it's a fun time. Samuel L. Jackson, of course, is having a fun time as Nick Fury, and I do like the little dynamic he has with Kamala and her family. It's really great. Kamala's family is really fun in this, too. As always. Also, the after-credit stuff is, oh, it's good stuff. As well as the last scene of the movie is also really good. Just teasing stuff to come. That's all I will say about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I said, this movie gets more flack than it deserves. It's a fun movie.
Good.
Damn shame general audiences seem to just be a bit too harsh overall.
I think we know why.
Yes. Assholes.
But let
Well,
us
we should.
move on to the next show, which is My Adventures with Superman.
I love this show. It's just so nice to see an actual Superman focused thing. Just be about, like, just be generally optimistic and
Yeah,
fun and nice.
I mean, I guess we know what Luce and Gus did after Owl House finished.
that's true. That was nice.
Yeah. I do like Lois's design in this. It's really neat. Did you watch this again? Because I feel like this would be something you'd really enjoy.
I haven't watched a lot, unfortunately.
You've mostly been gaming this year, right?
Yeah.
This is a very nice comfort show, honestly. There's some angst here and there, but it's mostly just a very nice, comforting show. Which I know you would have a fun time with.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if I got more of a shot to like actually watch something, I would probably watch it, but
Yeah. Now this is a nice show, and the I think it does a good job with the core dynamic of Clark, Lois, and Jimmy. That a lot of more recent Superman adaptations have just not done well or ignored altogether. Which is just a damn shame, because this is the kind of Superman stuff that I like. The nice,
Right.
fun, optimistic stuff that can still tackle dark stuff here and there, and can still deal maturely with a variety of topics.
right.
And it also just has some really fun villain of the week stuff going on with it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's hints of the broader, like, greater scope non-directly active villain being a duumvirate of Brainiac and Zod, and
Yeah, which is great.
those are like top tier Superman villains. Always fun to see those guys being the villains in any Superman thing. So I'm definitely looking forward to a second season of this. Yeah, not much else to say about this without going into more like specifics from the episode to episode stuff. Beyond like saying, this is a good time if you like Superman as a character, or just like enjoy the good vibes of a nice, optimistic, fun Superman show.
Mm-hmm.
There's undoubtedly dark stuff in here, but that goes without saying with a lot of superhero stuff. But at the end of the day, this is a show about optimism, hope, and joy, honestly. So yeah, good times.
Yeah.
I'm glad, because obviously Superman has not had the best time in terms of depictions.
No, his cinematic and television representations in recent years have by and large not been the best. I've heard his Arrowverse depiction has been okay, but I have not watched that Superman and Lois. So
Yeah, I did hear that Superman and Lois was pretty good, but by this point, I think everyone but the most diehard fans are kind of burnt out on the Arrowverse.
I'm pretty sure that's the only Arrowverse thing left too, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, I can't. I'm sorry. But yes, should probably move on to the next show, which is going to be mostly you, Mil, because I have not read most of this book yet.
Move on to the next book, which is The Olympian Affair. So this is book 2 in Jim Butcher's Cinder series. It is a series that was actually almost cancelled because I believe what happened is Jim lost his cats in his most recent divorce, and so writing those scenes was too hard for him.
Can't fully blame him for that.
but it kind of sort of shows that he thought about like stopping, because there are some like weird changes, retcons from the first book that sort of make themselves apparent, and there are a couple of characters who are written inconsistently from the first book. And that's not even getting onto my issues with the audiobook, which are frustrating.
Yeah, part of the reason I haven't read it yet is because most of my reading this year has been done via audiobook, and if it's not an audiobook that really meets my standards, I'm probably not going to be able to really enjoy it all the way. So I'm trying to just read the actual book, and it's a bit hard because I have not been having an easy time actually sitting down and reading this year.
Yeah, because here's the thing: I have listened to the first audiobook, and I really enjoyed it. But there are just some vocal changes in the second one. Like, the narrator changed Bayard's voice, which was like, I really liked his voice, and I think it really fit his character. And now it's because it was more of a sort of like smoother, almost sort of like bored voice, but one that could, get serious when needed to. And now it's just sort of more of a more typical sort of gruff voice, which I just don't really like. And considering Bayard is such a big part of this book as well, yeah, I really struggled to get into the audiobook. I have read the physical book. This book is really horny.
I mean, that's Jim Butcher, though.
More so than usual for Jim Butcher books, I mean. More than the average.
So on a scale from 1 to peak horny Dresden, how horny?
I would not say quite as bad as peak horny Dresden, because that gets real bad. But
it's definitely the horniest Jim Butcher's ever output.
But like people even noticed, wow, this is actually really horny for especially compared to the first book, which wasn't actually too bad in terms of the horniness.
Yeah, that was pretty chaste by Jim Butcher standards.
Yeah. But it's also sort of spurred a realization in me, and it's not just this, it's also been re-listening to specifically the Codex Alera books of, I'm kind of not like that into the amount of horny that Butcher inserts into his books. And that's another thing that sort of hurt the audiobook. Because, look, physical books I tend to skim through to begin with. And when it does get to stuff like that, I know I can just go, alright, skip through this bit. There's probably not... If I see any dialogue, I'll stick to it, but any description is probably superfluous. But audiobooks, I don't have that option.
No. It's the same thing with like television. Like you kind of have to go with at its speed, unless you want to skip a scene.
Yeah. And like, I mean, the last time I did a reread of Codex Alera, I did actually end up like using the skip function to get through certain scenes. And yeah, there is a lot of this in this book, and so I'm not sure if I am going to be able to listen to the audiobook in that sense. I mean, it's still a good book. It's absolutely still a good book, and it's an enjoyable book. I mean, the climaxes at the end are really fucking good.
Good to know.
But yeah, there are just some weird changes that do just sort of stick out a little bit. I mean, here's a minor one.
Doesn't the executive officer
I mean,
of the Predator just kind of disappear?
So to be fair, that was happening anyway, because it was mentioned at the end of the first book that Habbled officers like Creedy were going to be brought back into the fleet, considering they were, going to war. And to be honest, I am kind of too in love with what they did actually end up doing with that. Anyway, so, but something like so do you remember the what was it, the guy from the bar whose rooms Gwen took in the first book?
Yes.
Vaguely.
So his name was I think it was something like Commodore Pine.
Okay.
And it gets changed to, I think, Captain Pike in this book.
Not the worst change, but still odd.
No, but it's one of these little things that does make me think that Jim, at the very least, like, set aside his notes for the series, if not got rid of them completely. Thinking that he wasn't going to do this series again because, and so it does sort of affect the book to a certain extent. As I said, it's still a good book, but there's definitely still elements of it that you just go, this sticks out as something that, I know, having read the first book, that is now weirdly changed. So the perilous incident, we actually get some stuff on that, and it is quite different to the stuff we learnt about it in the first book. And considering it is such an inciting incident, it just comes off as a little weird. That said, as I said, I still enjoyed the book, and we are definitely going to be in an interesting position come the third book, whenever that comes out. I'm also going to include Warriorborn in the discussion of this, because I've just remembered that is also a thing. Again, a very horny book. For better or for worse, and yeah, it's kind of a shame that all of Benedict's companions fucking bit it, but especially Lady Herringford, I think that was what she was called.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sad that she bit it.
Yeah.
The other two I could take or leave, but she was fun.
I mean, the guy I didn't mind, to be fair. He was a dick, but he at least,
He was okay.
At least
it was the other one, the thief, who was just kind of the most irritating by quite a bit.
Yeah, and it didn't help that she was easily the most overtly sexual of them.
Shocker.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, again, not bad, but still very good. But there were just some little bits that you pick up on. Let's move on then to the live-action One Piece.
This was so good. I love this one.
Genuinely good, yeah. Like, almost...
Legitimately a good adaptation.
Yeah.
Flawed, but good.
Like, it's definitely...
Not a perfect adaptation.
No, it is definitely not perfect by any stretch, but it's still very good.
Oh, no, I agree.
And still far better than I think any of us expected from it.
Yeah, it's. I think this basically thoroughly broke the curse of live action anime adaptations more than anything before it.
I mean,
And the result was just...
It may have done, because apparently the live-action Yu Yu Hakusho is actually pretty good as well.
Damn. I'm not a huge Yu Yu Hakusho fan, so I'm probably not going to watch it, but...
I need to give it a watch. But yeah, I mean, I think we're probably going to end up doing like a stream for this all on its own, so we won't go into too much detail for it. But you know, the Straw Hats were just perfect casting.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like all the like little bits that they filmed, you know, for before and after the release, like it's clear they like really like each other, and that really comes across on the screen as well.
Right. It's like very obvious that like they are friends with each. Like it's like, oh, they did the crew thing. They did the bit.
Yeah. And like, and yes, there are definitely issues with it. I mean, the GARP stuff is weird at best. I mean, maybe it'll come good in the eventual second season, who knows, but there were definitely some weird parts of it, for sure. But at the same time, I'm glad to have gotten to focus on Kobe as well.
I mean, I also love the, like, Kobe's just such a good character.
Yeah.
That, like, doesn't get a lot to do in the story itself, at least initially. And so, like, to have Kobe actually participate is great, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, part of it is just that he's sort of meant to be the hero of his own story.
Right, and that's totally fair. But like, the fact that we get to, they're trying to do something different here.
Yeah. I mean, and again, there's other castings that absolutely killed it. I mean, fucking Buggy and Mihawk, absolutely superb. Like,
It was great.
Yeah, Jeff Ward Buggy, fucking superb. I mean, have either of you seen the video with the live action actor and dub actor for Mihawk? Like,
yes,
sniping back and forth.
There's also another one where they're like, they say a line and then like cute, like someone with a cutesy voice talks behind them, which I thought was very funny.
Yeah. Trying to think of what else there is. I mean, choreograph wise as well, the fighting was really good. I mean, obviously Zoro got got the better of it. Just because it's easier for, you know, somebody with fucking swords to fight than you know, stretchy guy, or you know,
good old stretchy boy.
Yeah. But I mean, even Sanji's stuff, you know, was really well done in the end as well. I mean, that scene where the Sanji and Zoro were going through Holong's goons was really good.
Literally all the choreography with Zoro's fights was excellent in this. Like even the fight with Mihawk, which was phenomenal both in this and the anime, and it was kind of like almost a shot for shot, though not quite, of the anime and manga.
No, there is definitely like some really similar moves to, how it was done in the anime, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, same lines as well. You're like a frog in a well, croak, croak, croak. That's straight from the source material.
Mm-hmm.
And just, more than anything, it's just really cool that it's also legit accessible to people that aren't fans or weren't already fans. Because, I watched this with my mum and she really enjoyed it. Like, she's recommended it to other people. Like, she actually recommended it to my stepbrother, I think. Like,
which is, yeah, like, again, like you said, it absolutely is this like idea of, like, this is a story not for nerds but just for regular people.
But there is also still stuff for the nerds, which is really cool. That mention of Mont Blanc Noland fucking got me. I was like, holy shit, they're mentioning that.
Yeah, that was great. The advantage of the live action is that it has so much of the material to work with, so it can plant Easter eggs like that.
It was able to do the Warlords reveal early because we now knew about this, and so that gave extra momentum to Mihawk showing up at Baratier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we can probably move on now. As I said, we're probably going to end up doing a stream of its own for this, just because, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. This is going to get its own dedicated podcast at some point. We've already talked about a lot on stream besides that.
Yeah. But let's move on to the second part of the summer's double header. It is Oppenheimer.
Oh, Oppenheimer was great.
I need to watch this one still.
No,
I kept trying to watch it, but I kept either forgetting or getting sidetracked by other things.
Well, I mean, Mel, did you see it?
I did not.
Okay. I've seen like bits and pieces, partially for my own reasons. But one of the things I can tell you about it is that it's so good. Like, it's not even that it's good for... It's Christopher Nolan doing a good film.
I mean, that's always a good style.
Like, how to describe it? There are many instances in which Christopher Nolan has, like, he gets too much up his own ass.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially, like, with Tenet. You remember Tenet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Tenet is that. Like, that is Christopher Nolan not having someone say, hey, maybe don't. Maybe don't be a dick.
They're probably...
Yeah, I enjoyed I probably would enjoy a lot more than Tenet.
There probably is a certain element of getting too big for his boots after something like Inception, which was, weird and deep and was successful, even if you did have a certain amount of people going, I didn't get it.
I mean, that was part of the problem with Interstellar.
I mean,
which was
Interstellar was
otherwise a
also
pretty good
good.
movie. Yeah.
It was like well made. Like even if you don't like the actual movie itself.
Also, Hans Zimmer always gives Christopher Nolan excellent soundtracks.
Yes, this is Christopher Nolan being like this is Hans Zimmer giving essentially a blank check.
Uh-huh.
There's very little of this movie that isn't so beautiful, hauntingly or not. And again, like even if you believe that, if you even if you don't believe that, what's it called? What's his face? I'm like tripping over my words here, but like taking your beliefs about Oppenheimer himself as a person in the real world, putting that aside. Like this is a good movie about not about Oppenheimer. It's about like the atomic bomb. It is the dread of the oncoming bomb and like the people who got us to this point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that it is a interesting, like as a story, it's fascinating. But I think at the end of it all, there's the scene, like there's a level of like Oppenheimer as a character and the way the story is told is never at once. It revels in the awe of the bomb while trying its best to not downplay the horror of the bomb.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I see what you're saying there.
I mean, it's also really interesting that this came out, this year, and also this year we've gotten another, historical film in Napoleon.
I mean, I'm really excited to see that. I'm really excited about Napoleon. Because Ridley Scott's really good, and I'm so excited for him to no longer be doing just what's it called? Yeah, alien movies.
Yeah.
Because, like, man needs not be forced to make more alien movies.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I have some issues with it just based on what Scott has said, in that he kind of shit on historians, but
I mean, it's gonna be what it is, right? Like, there's never... I don't know.
I mean, it's just the way he worded it, and it just,
Yeah.
as somebody with a history degree, like, and especially, like, I do have a distinct interest in, the Napoleonic era, so it would have been really cool to get a,
like, it's such an underserved part of history.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for Scott to just go, well, it doesn't matter about being accurate. It's like not just oh, it doesn't matter about being accurate, but who's to say this isn't how it happened? It's like the historians who've been researching this. There is a lot of research still.
No, yeah.
The Napoleon.
But like, I can understand the idea
was
of like
very recent, historically speaking.
Relatively, yes, but it's also like a story of like taking liberties to tell an interesting story. I can take. It's saying this is how it happened is being a dick.
Mm. But yeah, so here's the quote in particular. Napoleon dies then. 10 years later, someone writes a book. Then someone takes that book and writes another. And so 400 or so years later, there's a lot of imagination in history books. When I have issues with historians, I ask, "Excuse me, mate, were you there?" "No." Well, shut the fuck up then. Scott also declared, responding to French critics, that the French don't even like themselves. Which,
That's iffy.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's just
Scott
that it's just that
this
like
is
you know, historians have made it a career, and he's like, "You weren't there, so how can you know?" It's like, no, shut the fuck up, dude.
as a person, he's just like this. Like, there's a reason no one asks him to make alien movies anymore. Because that's what Prometheus was, and it was just a giant fuck you.
Mm.
Yeah, Prometheus was not great.
Like, it was
it's better than
intentionally supposed to be
Covenant.
bad.
Yeah, we should probably move on because we kind of stopped talking about Oppenheimer itself and
Yeah.
start talking about Napoleon.
So let's move on to, let's get that back up. The Owl House Season 3 specials. Sigh. I wish we could have gotten more.
I wish we
Same.
could have gotten a full season.
Same,
But,
girl, same.
What we did get was still excellent. I do like that Dana and Co. not so subtly said, "Yeah, if we had more time, we'd be showing you all sorts of adventures. Too bad we don't have that, though."
Yeah. I mean, I think the one where it really, really hurt was the first one, where we just got like a couple of montages in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And then this is why I think Morning Marku, shoutouts on Instagram, is just Dana Terrace's burner account.
On the one hand, I wouldn't be shocked. On the other hand, I'm pretty sure Maury Mark is a separate person.
Have we seen them in the same room as Dana?
No.
Then I will choose to believe until I see prove it otherwise.
But yeah, it definitely is the most apparent in the first special. The latter two specials work fairly well as just like a finale on their own. That you could imagine, like, it'd be more or less the same if it was just like a regular season with maybe a few bits here and there added to stretch it out a little bit. But yeah, the first special definitely suffers the most from the pacing.
It's such a shame because it'd be so good to get the fucking like shenanigans of these idiots in the human realm.
What we do see of their shenanigans is already funny as it is.
Yeah. But overall, it's still a good conclusion. I mean, and I'm glad that it, actually does get across that the Collector is not a bad person.
He's just a kid.
Yeah. And influenced by, shitty people. First their siblings and then by Bellows, who, as he should have been, was the true villain of the series.
I do love that they just said, yeah, this Puritan asshole who is trying to force his beliefs on everyone else is in fact pure evil and cannot be redeemed.
Mm-hmm. Which, given that we are not that long removed from Steven Universe and that whole kerfuffle, it's nice to get that message.
Steven Universe, for all the problems it has, I do feel like is overhated as a show.
No,
But like this, this does feel like a response to his handling of villains, at least in some form.
Yeah, look, I do not have a dog in that fight. I have not watched Steven Universe. All I know of it is from what other people have said. I'm just repeating what they have said. I don't know. I'm not even saying that makes it a bad show. I'm just saying that is they definitely went in on Talk No Jutsu from what I've heard.
I mean, part of that was just personal catharsis on the creator's part, but yeah. Regardless, these are good specials.
Yeah.
I do think. The animation is fluid and excellent, especially during the climax. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
And the character work is also top tier.
Right.
It's just a very fun bits here and there that kind of help round it out as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the whole not Star Trek stuff in the first special was very funny.
Yeah. And it was also nice to get Camila's perspective on the raising Luce stuff, because obviously we only saw it from Luce's perspective in the first season. And, people didn't take it amazingly well. But, so yeah, it was nice to get to see that perspective, and, and just get to see the two of them interact, and and then Camila get to go to the Burning Isles and see all that stuff as well.
The Boiling Isles, yeah.
Boiling Isles, yeah.
I do love that she just comes along with a fucking baseball bat ready to wreck a motherfucker.
Yeah. Reminds me, I don't think it was the most recent Mori Mark 1, but Dahlia challenging her to a duel, then doing prophecy spell to see how it ends up, and it's just like her own gravestone as Camila just starts getting the bat ready.
Yep.
I love it. It's so good.
Yeah. Also, I like the bit in the kind of interstitial space with Luz and King's parent, which was just really neat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also, Hunter's ancestor being there too.
That was great, yeah. Overall, just really good stuff. A lot of satisfying conclusions for the characters. My one regret is that I wish there was more material of this, especially with regard to, like, the human realm stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we can probably move on to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
So, let's get this out of the way before we talk about the movie itself. Please, for the love of God, stop crunching your animators, big studios. Please and thank you.
That would require them to have any kind of self-awareness.
Yeah. But yes, this was still an excellent movie. Good God, the animators actually put, like, everything into making this just phenomenal. Because, oh my God, the animation cuts in this are just excellent all around. You can see it from, like, the the first fight sequence, like not even 10 minutes into the movie. Just a really good visually, and the movie does a really good job with just balancing the multiverse elements of the storyline fairly well.
Yeah.
Even if it does get a little bit busy at times.
It also does well in balancing, Miles and Gwen's stories, because they are very much the two protagonists of this one. Where the first one was about, the relationship between Miles and Peter B. And Peter B, coming back into his own as Spider-Man. This one is very much about Gwen and her work-life separation, so to speak. And it culminating with that scene with her dad is just really well done.
Heartbreaking.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that it sparks the realization in Gwen that, hey, these canonical events can be fucking changed. Shut the fuck up, Miguel.
Miguel just being such a hardcore proponent of, no, it has to be this way. It has to be the canon. It has to be. It was like, I can't help but think that whoever was writing this movie was of a mind like, hey, this is the worst kind. Miguel is being like the worst kind of source material purist.
Yeah. I mean let's be honest. That was a not so subtle set of shots taken, especially with him going after Miles so hard about not being Spider-Man.
Also, Miguel is leaning into Calvinism here, which I believe it's Calvin. Yeah, Calvinism is this idea of predestination and is something that has rooted itself in the Christian right. So it's also something this idea that things cannot be changed; they are what they are, and you have to suffer no matter what. Is a very modern Catholic, modern.
It's not even modern
Baptist.
Catholic. It's very much Calvinist.
Yeah, that's what. That's what I mean.
Which makes it all the more satisfying that one of the people against Miguel is good old Spider-Punk.
Oh
yes,
Hobie's
great.
In his own comic, he hates being called Spider-Punk.
I'm not shocked. He seems like the kind of person who'd hate labels in general.
Well, no, he he wants to be called Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, look, I agree with him. In his own universe, he should be called Spider-Man, but we need identifying marks here.
Oh, absolutely, I agree 100%. But it's very funny that
I can't just say, and it's great that one of the people against him is Spider-Man, because you'd just be like, huh?
Which one?
Yeah.
Yes.
More my point is he's called he called himself Spider-Punk is as a name is given to him by his enemies.
Yeah.
Also, poor Penny Parker.
Yeah, she definitely went through some stuff.
You do know what her comic backstory is, right?
Very angsty is all I know.
I probably didn't know back when I watched the movie. I don't remember right at this moment, but...
Jack, do you know?
Not off the top of my head.
Did you guys watch Evangelion?
Oh, no!
Yup.
I do know that her mech was, in the comic, inspired by Ava. And now the movie version is also Ava looking.
No. Her canonical backstory is Evangelion.
Fuck.
Oh, no.
Ouch.
Please tell me people have drawn the Shinji shit sitting in a chair meme with her.
Unclear, but it's very funny that it's that.
In fact, I'm almost certain they did. I feel like I remember seeing it at the time and not really getting it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was also really cool to see all the variations of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. That fucking pointing scene was so good.
Yeah, no, perfect. Absolutely perfect. No criticisms of that, because, yeah, that was just fucking great. Also, Peter B just being, like, just this fucking troll for Miguel.
Yeah. And just being, like, the funniest kind of doting parent as well.
Yeah.
Which I think is so, like, such a perfect, like, exactly the kind of opposing character arc we needed for Miguel.
Yeah.
Because, like, right, like, of the two adult Peter Parkers, or the adult Spider-Men, what do we have? We have Miguel and Peter B. Miguel is, like, absolutely a toxic guy. Whereas whereas Peter B is, like, this, like, almost effeminate.
Like, he's the one looking after the kid.
Right, it's not Mary.
And, you know, he's...
What's up, Mary Jane?
Yeah, and throughout this entire fucking movie, he's wearing a pink bathrobe.
Right, like, and it's so fun that this came immediately after we got Barbie, like around the same time as Barbie. It's like, oh, this is a theme within the zeitgeist, which I thought was interesting.
But yeah, also, I really need more of Miles, Gwen, Hobie, and Pavita just hanging out.
I love Pavita, though. Pavita is so great.
I love him. I love him so. Just going after, like, all the... like, chai tea? Chai tea? Chai means tea, so you're just calling it TT!
To be fair...
Oh, I love chai tea! No!
To be fair, that is also things that I feel.
Yeah.
In my heart of hearts.
Also, this is where the traffic jams are, this is where the traffic jams are, and this is where where the British stole all our stuff.
I do love that half the reason Hobie gets along so well with Peter is that both of them hate the British with a passion.
Yeah. But yeah, just give me, like, a fucking, like, 20-minute short where the four of them have to babysit Mayday. Like,
oh, that'd be great.
Give that to me, please.
I've seen, like, not necessarily a TikTok, well, not necessarily a comic, but, like, a TikTok about that. Where it's texts between the various Spider-Men.
Yeah.
Also, going to actual spoilers for the movie, when did you cotton on that Miles did not get sent back to his home universe?
Immediately.
Yeah, I think
I caught on almost immediately as well, but they did a good job of keeping it subtle but apparent.
Yes, I think I did as well, especially because they do leave enough hints there for you of, oh yeah, you know, it's
something is off here.
Something is off, but it also, you know, the whole, you know, Miles' spider powers are, you know, connected to Earth 42 rather than his own Earth.
Yeah.
Well,
I saw the input. I saw the freeze frame of, oh, it's going to Earth 42, not Miles' home Earth, because it scanned the spider DNA.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
Yeah, that's what, like, I thought was interesting. Is that this Miles was supposed to be our Miles. And because of Kingpin, that's why it's not.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I thought that was a fascinating story.
It will be interesting to see Prowler Miles and what he's all about in the next movie.
No, definitely. And you know, the Spot is also very funny. And very
as crazy of a villain he is. Ugh.
I mean, he just
So
works
good.
really well because he obviously starts off as, you know, your typical Spider-Man villain, which even
That's
he
like-
calls out because Miles is basically just treating him as another villain of the week. But he does just get so much more menacing as the movie goes on, which is really cool. To the point where, yeah, he is a legit threat. Before he was basically only surviving through kind of luck and bumbling around, and now he is legit like, okay, he is a problem. We are gonna have to deal with this problem as soon as fucking possible, and with as many people as possible. But yeah, I'm not sure what else there is to say other than, yeah, Sony, please don't overwork your animators this time. For the love of God,
Please,
don't.
Sony.
Like, we
Yes.
will get it if it takes, we'll understand if it takes longer.
Like, the cliffhanger ending was a bit of a bitch, but at the same time, we don't want an answer to the cliffhanger at the cost of the animator's health and well-being.
Yeah. I really would rather it take, you know, a long time and the animators, you know, have good working conditions than it come out in, like, 2 years' time, and the animators have to go through a shit ton of crunch. I really would just rather it take, you know... Hell, make it take 5 years. I don't care. I'll wait.
Yeah.
It's good. It is good enough that I will wait.
Yeah.
But
like, the quality of the animation here was superb, and you shouldn't need to crunch your animators to get that quality of animation.
But yeah, we can probably move on to. It is another.
I move on.
It's another of the Brando Sando secret projects. It is the Sunlit Man.
This one was
From
really
the
good.
worst book to the best.
I wouldn't put this as my favorite of the four. I'd probably say it's my second favorite, but it's still very good.
Which one was your favorite, if you don't mind me asking?
Tress.
That's fair. Tress was my second.
Yes. But yeah, we'll talk about Tress shortly. We have a few things between this and that. But Sunlit Man was very good. I do like the Mad Max vibe of the setting. It's very neat. I think this is Sanderson's first time going like full on like steampunk bordering on cyberpunk with his settings. Yeah. And honestly, it's an aesthetic that he does really well. Actually, maybe the Wax and Wayne books could be called a steampunk.
I would call it that.
Yeah. It's a different kind of steampunk, this one, though.
Well, this is more like... This is Brandon Sanderson... Like, this is post... Like, you were right on first count. Like, this is Mad Max. I would actually... Like, it's closer in terms of style story or genre story to, like... What's the word I want to use here? Like, Dark Sun, Apocalypse... Like, more, like, oh, there's, like, a word for it, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
It's cool.
But,
Don't worry too much about it.
But that's kind of the vibe is like, really good, though.
Mm-hmm. The vibes in this one are immaculate, yeah. Yeah, no, Sunlit Man is a very good book. The core narrative is a very strong one.
Right, and I also like the idea of him leaning into, like, one of the things about the Sunlight Man that's really good is the fact that, this isn't a story of heroes. This is a story of like broken people being forced to do. Or like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
The magical stuff in this one is interesting too, because it's like, oh, this is how they handle this in the far future when they are like taking the magic scientifically.
Right, and I'm very interested to see what they do with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should be very interesting to see how that's handled going forward. Yeah, no, this is Sanderson doing a very different story from the norm for him, but still putting out something really interesting and cool. And the general overall story of Nomad, as he just learns to, I don't know, I don't want to say cope, but reckon with his life as it's been so far and as it looks to be going forward. You know?
Right.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I also just really love. Yeah, I don't know. I just really love. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good stuff.
All right. Are you all ready to move on? Moving on then to the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Jack Black absolutely fucking killed it as Bowser.
Shocker.
Like, more than anything else, that was definitely he was definitely the highlight of the movie. It's a pretty fun movie.
Name someone who is more like who is essentially more fitted for his role.
The only one who comes close is Charlie Day's Luigi. And he, unfortunately, did not get as much to work with as he probably should have.
Well, yeah, the movie wasn't actually a love story between Bowser and Luigi.
Yeah.
Despite what some people on Tumblr might tell you, yeah.
Oh, Tumblr, never change. Maybe change a little, actually. But
be careful what you wish for, again.
Change a little, but
yeah, no, it's nothing to write home about, but it's still a fun movie.
Mm.
There's a lot of little nods here and there. The continuity of the games.
Right.
Especially with all the power-up items. And of course, you got a lot of really fun sequences, like the Mario Kart sequence is real fun. Caps up with a very big surprise at the end. And there's, of course, the little obstacle course sequence training montage is pretty fun as well.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you got Jack Black's epic solo as Bowser, singing Peaches.
Right.
Again, it's not a Jack Black appearance if he doesn't sing something.
Mm-hmm. Usually some fun, dumb bullshit.
I think we said that in when we were playing Psychonauts 2.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That is a Jack Black thing.
It's a very fun Jack Black thing. Never change, Jack Black.
Mm-hmm.
Never change.
That is something we can agree on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of fun in the movie. Most of the voice acting outside of Jack Black is at worst passable, and at best it's actually kind of good. I don't know why they cast Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. Seems kind of odd casting to me. Especially since they still give him the fucking Seth Rogen laugh. Which, it works for Poon, but not as well for, Donkey Kong, you know?
Mm.
Yeah. I don't think he was the right choice.
He was definitely a choice. I don't know about the right one. But yeah.
I mean, look, we could talk until our faces turn blue about the irritation we feel when movies like this get celebrity voice casting. But
in fairness, some of them do have voice acting experience. Like Jack Black has been doing voice acting
obviously.
well before this.
Obviously, Jack Black
And
is almost a voice actor in his own right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the difference between it's the difference between Mark Hamill versus Kylo Ren, or versus Daisy Ridley or something, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
One's both are actors. It's just a matter of which one's done voice work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny enough, Chris Pratt has done voice work before this. It's just I don't think he was the perfect cast for Mario, if I'm being honest.
No.
God, they're making him do Garfield too.
Which was so dumb.
Mm-hmm. Regardless. Anything else you want to tack on
No,
about this movie?
I'm good, I think.
Yeah.
Alright, again.
It's a fun enough movie that
Yeah.
you can watch it with your kids if you want to, or you can just like keep it
boy.
on as like a fun little background movie to enjoy, but like there's nothing big or substantive about it. I do like that the central relationship of the movie that it's focused on is Mario and Luigi's brotherly bond rather than, you know, any romance bullshit. But still.
But
so
yeah.
let's move on to the thing that you two are going to be gushing about for several straight minutes.
Again, it's time for our segment. Because we move on to Taskmaster Series 15 and 16.
I love Super Kids. I love Super Kids. I love Super Kids.
I'm probably going to be branded a heathen, but parts of I didn't vibe as much with Series 16. It's still a good series, and there's still some absolutely fantastic moments. I mean, Taskmaster.
Oh, I agree.
Taskmaster Hotel, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. So, Jack, you know the basic premise of Taskmaster, right?
It's a bunch of comedians doing tasks.
Yeah.
Yes. So Taskmaster Hotel is a team task with 3 of the competitors versus 2 of the other competitors, because it's a cast of 5.
Which is totally fair, and people don't complain to Alex all the time.
Right, exactly. Exactly. But in this one, it is the task is Alex is a hotel guest at Taskmaster Hotel, and the contestants are the staff of the hotel. And they have to deal with Alex being the world's most needy and awful person.
To be fair, he's the worst with the 2 Sues. I think his reactions were justified with the team of 3.
Oh, yes, but to be fair,
it's just the fact that Lucy kept saying, "Nice legs, sir."
Oh my God! So
and then Sam is just waiting in the fucking caravan for him. Oh God!
Greg Davies, who is the titular Taskmaster, he has said, he called it the 2 Sues just genuinely doing a good job of running a hotel.
Yeah.
And just going like, you guys should actually just do this, honestly. And then he turns to the team of 3 and goes, and these were a bunch of lunatics.
Yeah. Why is your colleague playing the French horn? She's French. I mean, look, I think my issue with this series is that I think it was just missing that one person who was truly competitive about it.
Right, because like every single one of them was just taking the shit.
Yeah.
Or is Lucy Belmont?
Yeah, because the most competitive one was Sam, and even he was like just too laid back about it.
Yeah. So
I needed an Ed Gamble, I needed a Dara O'Brien who just went fucking insane at some of these.
Yes. Because you needed Dara O'Brien. So in Series 15, it's Dara, Sarah Millican.
No, that's Series 14. That's Series 14.
Oh, who's Series 15?
15
mistaken.
is Frankie, Ivo, May,
yes.
Jenny, and Kyle. Oh, Kyle.
Oh.
They needed a Kyle. They needed a Kyle.
Right. You kind of got there with with Julian, but Julian was just sassy.
Julian doesn't give a shit.
Yes. Julian was closer to Frankie.
Yeah. There are very much archetypes on the show, and Julian very much did fit the older contestant who is enjoying himself but doesn't really give a shit.
Oh. And he's also there just to take the piss on Alex.
Yeah. Like, just like, oh, you've got a friend. Just like the worst way you could just say that. Oh god, it's great.
And then you have Brace in Series 15.
Oh god, Jenny's just so insane. Actually insane. Like, the only thing I'd really seen with her was a clip from QI where she started arguing with Johnny Vegas over ice cream, and just in the background Bill Bailey just goes, you know, this is what I think life in a nursing home would be like. But Series 15, I think Series 15 in particular kind of suffered from having 3 kind of all-time great series. Because Series 12, 13, and 14 are genuinely up there. Like, I think Series 14 in particular has maybe the best Taskmaster episode of all time.
Which one?
I think it might be episode 7. So
You have to remind me.
So, prize task things you would most like to have with you on a car journey. So you've got the coordination game that Munya brought in. Calls a multiple car pilot. Yeah, John Sailor hat.
I also just fucking love John. John Kurtz is such a dumbass.
And you had Fern's Shiwi. Task 1 was the popping 99 balloons with in your room with your weapon. Team 2 was the get the feather into the bath. So you've got feather loss gate of just the 3 of them just coming in and just going, oh. And then Dara going to look for it. Fern just sort of stood there, and then John just brings in a stuffed chicken. Just with a hopeful look on his face, just like, can we use this? And then in the studio, Fern and John are convinced that it was one of them who lost it, because of course it would be one of them, but it was actually Dara.
Yep.
And then task 3 was the make an exercise ball touch Bernard, which obviously just Munya.
Munya was the one that surprised me in that season. Because I came in liking Dara and liking Sarah.
Yeah.
John was like my least favorite all throughout. Even though like I kind of got his bit partway through, and I love Fern Brady. So like Munya was like the real unknown to me.
Yeah.
And like he came, I appreciated him by the end because he was just a goof.
Like, he is just so confident, but so bad at everything. I think the podcast summed it up best when they called him Buzz Lightyear in the first Toy Story movie.
Yes. Perfect. That's a perfect yes.
Pre the first episode, I believe Nish said that John had a whiff of the Kumar.
Yes. I believe that.
Yeah. I think we all knew it was always going to come down to Dara or Sarah.
I mean, considering the first episode, where like Sarah and Dara were the only two really playing, and everyone else was just shitting the bed.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think Series 15, struggled a bit on that, but once it really got going, it was genuinely fantastic. I mean, yeah. Ivo, poor Ivo.
He came in with such good intentions, and
the amount of times that I would just went, "Oh, Ivo."
To be fair, I think we all did.
I mean, again, Frankie summed it up best with just, it makes me feel really bad for you when you put your head in your hands like a chimpanzee that's lost its habitat. Yeah, just Jenny being chaotic, Frankie just having a good time.
And then there's May, who's trying to win.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I think if May had been on Series 14, they would have fit in a lot better, because they would have been in complete competition with Dara and, to a lesser extent, Sarah. But in this one, where everyone, everyone was just sort of a mess, it just really stood out.
Yeah, but even then...
and I think May sort of struggled with the studio segments in the first few episodes and really getting into the swing of things, but towards the end, yeah, they were really getting there. I mean, yeah, we could just go on and on about all of these fantastic moments.
Like, Taskmaster as a series is such a perfect moment of weird horse shit, variety show, funny British comedians, and just a good form. It's a good format with a good crew, because compared to QI or 8 out of 10 Cats, which are both also good shows, Taskmaster is the most accessible of them, I think.
Yes. And it's the most, I think it's also the most enjoyable for the comedians themselves as well. Because so many of them have said that there's not quite that, certainly in the in-studio segments, there's not that competition to, get jokes off. It's a much more relaxed affair in that sense.
Right,
as well as, when you are actually doing the tasks, you're basically just being yourself, which can be a very exposing process for some. I'm sure, some of them didn't realize just how inept they truly were, but, I mean, Fern in particular, she is very openly autistic, and she's spoken and written about how wonderful the show was about being being kind and accommodating to her needs, and not and allowing her to not have to mask you know, her stimming and that sort of stuff.
Right, and like there was a moment in series 14, especially there was that that task where Sarah was forced to sing.
Yes.
And then she said like, I didn't like I hated singing because of reasons and
because of an ex-partner, yeah.
And like that is brutal. And like you could see that like it was very obvious that Sarah wasn't the best in that one.
No, but she had to get the 5 points. She absolutely had to.
But like, and there was also Greg. Like, you could tell that they talked about it. At least like Alex and Greg talked about it behind the scenes, and came to the conclusion: no, we're gonna give Sarah the 5.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest.
I think if if it weren't for that, Greg probably would have given Fern the 5 points, because, as she said, he kept whispering in her ear, "Me Fern Brady, me Fern Brady."
Me Fern Brady. Oh god, that's gonna live in my head till the day I die.
To be fair, John's also does with his fucking naughty Satsuma in a curry.
Yeah, no, fair.
And then Big Head Dara, and I think Munya came into this too overconfident, because this is the sort of thing that he does. Like,
yeah, this is his bit.
This is his wheelhouse, and unfortunately for him, Greg revels in marking down those occasions.
But like even his is like the fun part, like the fun part of Taskmaster is watching like these very funny people be utterly shit at normal things.
Yeah.
Or like weird normal things, right?
Yeah.
But like you get like these beautiful moments of like the stars have aligned. And you get to see like people just be fucking gods.
Yeah. I mean, to bring it back to series 15, the puzzle task where they were handcuffed together and they had to figure out the combinations, and just Ivo clearly figuring out what needed to be done, but not having the confidence to overrule Frankie, who's getting it completely wrong.
Oh yes.
And then eventually getting it wrong, and then not finding the key for so long. Just searching for that key that was just in plain sight.
So good. It was so good.
Yeah. Also, I've got to say, I do now empathize with the people who were a little put off by the tasks they took from Taskmaster New Zealand in Series 14, which, admittedly were good, but didn't quite live up to the New Zealand versions, just because of how insane the New Zealand version can get at times.
So my wife and I have started watching Taskmaster New Zealand because that's what's now on, and like I'm still getting used to the cast, but like they're not as good to me. So
series 1 is definitely the weakest in terms of, like, everyone is trying to get used to it. I think the actual staff are still trying to get used to it, and
that's kind of what I'm thinking as well. Is like this is like
they didn't necessarily get the casting right in terms of the group, again, because it was their first time doing it.
Right. So I'm not digging them too much, but
yeah. So there are definitely moments in that first series. Series 2 is where it picks up.
That makes sense to me.
Because, again, it is just genuinely 5 insane people. Absolutely mad people. Actually, no. 4 mad people and Matt Heath, who is just there to take the piss out of Jeremy.
Yeah. I mean, every season, every show, every season needs a Rod Gilbert.
Yeah. But yeah, the task that had me make that realization was the one in Series 16, the Fortune Trail. Because that was taken from Taskmaster New Zealand, Series 3. And unfortunately, like, in the New Zealand version, like, none of them found the two-headed coin. But the best part was they showed 4 of them together, you know, just doing the easy thing and then eventually getting the 5 heads in a row. And then they left one to last. And just there was a little kid's plastic table nearby, and at one point he got so angry he genuinely kicked one of the legs off a good 10-20 meters.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, we all have one of those, mate. Just let it out. And especially with the reveal of the coin. And especially considering that guy had said during his attempt, why would I go to the shed? This is basically a choice between doing the easy thing and being lazy or having to do a lot of walking. And obviously I'm going to pick being lazy.
Lazy, of course.
142 coin flips later, and he is sincerely regretting his life choices.
And then you have in Series 16?
Yeah.
Julian just getting it on first 5.
Yeah.
Or something. It's like, what? How?
Yeah. But it was that task that made me realize I needed somebody to just lose their shit on it.
Yeah. I mean, that's also the beauty of the show format.
I mean, that was also a great episode because that had the convince a child you're asleep with Sam fucking bribing the child.
Yeah.
Oh god. But yeah, we've talked about this for a while now. Taskmaster is fucking amazing. You need to watch it. So let's move on then to Ted Lasso.
That one ended this year, right?
Yes. I have not finished it.
Did.
But yes, it did end this year. Have you watched it again?
I started watching it and just never got around to it.
I think I'm near the end of season 2, if I remember correctly. I mean, it's a good show. I mean, I was worried at the time before I started watching it that they would get the football all wrong, and I'm going to be honest, it's not amazing, the bits that they do show. Some of it is good and some of it's not so good. But for the most part, it works well enough for what it needs to do. Roy Kent is an all-time great TV character.
Yes.
And I also just love how fucking weird Coach Beard is.
Yeah.
Which one's Roy Ken?
The angry one.
The angry, sweary one.
Okay. And what about the titular Ted Lasso?
I mean, he's good. I mean, season 2 in particular does make it feel like there's sort of two storylines. There's his stuff and then there's the football club stuff. He seems quite detached from the football club in season 2, I feel. To a certain extent, which I get because he's also it's because he's working.
There's a lot happening.
Yeah, it's because he's working through his issues. But I mean, he's good. He's enjoyable. He's like a really kind of neat character in that he is, you know, so positive and so willing to try and move past drama, sometimes
Right.
to his detriment. And sometimes, and he admits when he's not getting stuff right is the thing. He's willing to admit when he's wrong. And it's only really when it came to his trauma that he didn't, and even then he eventually realized, yeah, I kind of need some help to work through this now.
Right. And the main thing about him as a character is when faced with he is as a person deeply distrusting of therapy and kind of the language of therapy, because he believes he knows that language in a real way.
I mean, there's also I know this because I have read summaries for the later episodes. There is actually I think a plot point in season 3 that really sort of recontextualizes his dislike of therapists and therapy.
Right.
And you can really understand why he takes against Sharon when she first arrives.
Right. It's like you get it.
Yeah. But also of note is Jamie's stuff. It is really interesting seeing that, being a football fan as well, because his story does happen so often. And
right.
It often ends without a good resolution.
Right.
Because, he is this, wonder kid who gets the weight of the football world basically put on his shoulders, and obviously he can't handle that pressure, especially considering his dad is
a dick.
Is a fucking dick. So it's very easy to see why he makes the choices he does, even if you don't agree with them at the start.
Right.
And the fact is that he did have, Ted to help him through that.
Right, and that's what makes Ted such a good such a fun character. Is because that is the point of Ted's character, is to be this force for good.
It fits in with his character of he's caring more about making them better people than necessarily better players. But in doing so, he is making them better players because he's making sure that they get on, they are proper teammates with each other.
Which makes me so curious to see, I would love to have seen Ted take his normal football team, his American football team, and really turn that around.
But I mean, an example of sort of how important togetherness can be is actually the football team I support at the moment, Everton, which has gone through some really rough years the last sort of 4 or 5 years. But we've got a new manager, Sean Dyche, and he has really brought that sense of camaraderie back to the team. And has been ably embedded by the Premier League being absolute corrupt assholes and docking us 10 points. So it's created a very much them versus us mentality, and it showed itself in the performances. Everyone is working for each other. They're not just they're not working for themselves, and especially against other teams where they're very much talented individuals rather than a team. It very much becomes apparent the difference there. But yeah, I mean, it's a good show. I wish I didn't have to subscribe to fucking Apple TV for it, but hey.
I mean, there's like actually pretty good few shows on there.
Apparently, the Godzilla show that they have on there has extremely good effects for a TV series. For example, I've also heard what's it called? The one with Adam Scott in it is also really good.
Like there are some bangers on there.
Yeah.
But we should probably move on to the next in the list of Brando Sando secret projects, because it is Tress of the Emerald Sea.
This one was so good.
It's...
I love the Princess Bride vibes to it.
Yeah. My take on it is this read of what if Brandon Sanderson read about the Ice Queen and went, you know what? I'm gonna write a better story about that. And then he did.
Yeah. This is my favorite of the secret projects, in no small part because of the whimsical vibes to it and the fun characters. I also really liked the funky shit he did with the magic here.
It's very much it's like the most fairy tale of his works, aside from maybe Elantris.
Yes, this is definitely the most fairy tale-esque. There's also the one that has, like... I feel like it has the most unique world out of all the worlds he's designed in quite some time.
Yes, I agree with that.
Because it's not often you see, like, a setting where there is no actual ocean of water. It is just such a wild conceit to just the way that he designed the setting here.
Right.
And I also like that he allowed the worlds to be a bit open to learning more about if he ever wants to come back to it, because he leaves a lot of things unanswered, but not in a way that really damages the world building or the story of the characters.
Right. And like the revelation that what they're really revealing within this story is like essentially a magic more primordial than anything from Adonalsium. In the cosmology is like such a fascinating twist.
Yeah, it is.
In terms of like the metaphysics, like the meta narrative and the metaphysics of the world. So, very interested to see what they do next.
Speaking of the meta narrative, the stuff with Hoyd here is hilarious.
I love him so much, and I love the fact that everyone's just called Doug.
Yes. The story has a perfect balance between serious and silly.
Also,
like, out of all the secret projects, I think this one balances the comedy to draw ratio the best.
Because, like, especially compared to Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, where we also see, spoilers, we also see Lloyd and Design, this is, like, the better instance of them, because...
I think this uses Hoyd better for sure.
It uses Hoyd better for sure, but I think Design is used better slightly in Yumi and the Nightmare Painter.
Yeah. Yumi's barely, rather, Design's barely present in this one.
Right. It's the other way around in Yumi and the Nightmare Painter.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, this, like, Design and Hoyd's dynamic, which is first... So this is, I think, the second of the stories? Or the first?
This is the first secret project.
Okay. Yeah, so like this is the first time we really get to see design interact with Hoid in a real way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is incredibly fascinating.
Yep. I also just really like the implementation, not just of Hoid, but like of the larger Cosmere stuff in this as well. Well, with the appearance of the sorceress and the dragon in the setting.
And like the finale that the sorceress is actually just no one. Like she's truly just a nobody.
Yeah, she's a nobody who's taking advantage of the fact that she comes from a place where her inherent magic is like very
Super
alien to the
powerful.
people here. Like she has like 21st century levels of tech as well, compared to like the 18th, 19th century levels of tech more common to the setting, or rather common to this particular world, which is like very much a statement of like, hey, Clark's third law and all that, but also actual magic. Which I always think is very fun. To like play with Clark's third law a little bit like that. But yeah, I also have to say I really like Tress herself. She's such a fun protagonist.
Right. It's also like going back to the narrative of the Ice Queen, which I still believe is a inspiration here, is like in the Ice Queen story, it's the main like there's like the damsel in distress boy character who is the genius, and the girl is the bastion of like truth and like in the ingenue, where like we start off that way, but then over the course of the story we flip it. And I think that's a good twist of the story.
Yeah. I also like the members of the crew. They're all really fun characters as well. And I do like the little bits of development each of them gets over the, especially the major crew members over the course of the story. But yeah, no, this is a good one. This is a very good one. This one, I think most of Secret Projects do require some level of buy-in to the larger Cosmere. I think this one is probably the one that you need the least outside knowledge of the Cosmere ones. But you still need to know a bit for some of the stuff with like Hoid and the Sorceress to make sense.
Right.
Yeah, no, this is still very good stuff.
Right.
Wow, the last structure of our list is very book heavy.
Let's move on then to Waybound.
Boy, oh boy.
What an
We
ending.
talked about this quite a bit on one stream, but god damn.
I mean, it was a really good ending to the series. I'm not sure what I necessarily would have changed. I think it was a good end for all of the characters.
It was a very strong conclusion overall.
I mean, all it really did was make me wish we had more Larian throughout the series.
Oh god,
Oh, yeah.
she's so good. Such a good character.
Yeah. She's very fun.
Oh, that's right. I need to show the two of you something. Took a screenshot of something and then kept forgetting to actually send it to you, so I'll just send it to the stream chat right now. Where is it? There. So yeah, I saw that on Instagram.
Yes.
Oh, Zeal.
Yes.
I
Love Zeal.
love that his Reaper mission wasn't to take anything out, it was to fucking draft new laws.
I love the little epilogue missions that each of them goes on. They're all very funny.
Yeah, no, everything about like Zeal, like just great. No notes.
Yeah.
I love a tired character.
Yes. Zeal's good. I do love the arcs given to the rest of the main group in the story, though, in the book.
Mm.
Like, Mercy's arc especially is just super painful.
Which I like called from jump. I was like, yes. Yes.
Are you wearing your Sicko t-shirt, Ken?
Yes. I'm just very happy with what we got, honestly.
Oh yeah, no, it's very good stuff. Like I said, we talked about it at length not long after the book came out.
And we will talk about it. We'll talk about it at length again as well at some point.
Yeah.
So don't particularly want to linger on it too much, other than that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cradle is probably now my favorite book series.
It's definitely up there for me, for sure. Top 10, maybe even top 5.
Because I mean, for Christmas, I've done a book exchange with a friend of mine from work, and basically said, "Oh, we'll give each other like the first books of our favorite series." And then I was suddenly like, "Oh, so I'll get the first book of, oh, am I gonna get the first book of Codex Alera, which previously was?" And it's kind of gone back to that how my tastes have changed thing of I definitely still enjoy it, and it's still a book series that is near and dear to my heart, but is it the one that when I'm just wanting to read something I really enjoy, is that what I go to now, or is it going to be one of the Cradle books?
Hard thing to call.
And I decided on Cradle, and promptly got the first 2 books of the series because, Unsold is good, but it's not where the series really gets going.
Right.
No, you're gonna want to go with like probably Black Flame or Ghostwire if you want like the good shit to read.
Yeah, but I didn't want to just chuck 3 books at him.
Yeah.
So I just got Unsold and Soulsmith, because Soulsmith at least gives you Aethan.
Yeah.
Soulsmith does give you Aethan, yes.
And a wider idea of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Waybound, really good.
Excellent conclusion to the series.
Yeah. Let's move on to our penultimate piece of media. It is The Wheel of Time, Season 2.
So have you finished Season 1 again?
Which one?
Of The Wheel of Time.
I started it, but I haven't finished it yet.
Okay. So if you are hesitant with Season 1, Season 2 is like substantially better in basically every way.
Okay.
Like, it's very good, and it has some of my favorite portrayals of villains in live action in a while. The Forsaken that show up in the season are just fantastically acted. Like, you just seeing the actors playing Ashamael and Lanfear just having a fucking blast playing the villains is just so good. But the acting across the board is pretty strong. The effects are also really good, and this the storyline in this one is closer to the books while still taking liberties to in most cases make the story stronger. Like there are a couple changes I wasn't a big fan of, but for the most part, the changes were either like neutral or good changes, I think. They've also toned down most of the worst parts of the early books. So this is basically adapting the second and third books together. And the result is pretty damn good. It also has just some really good action sequences here and there. Especially, there's one scene where you're basically the Avienda's introduction, where
Oh yeah.
she absolutely wipes the floor with like a dozen white cloaks.
Nice.
It's fantastic. But yeah, no, it's very good. Does a good job with the character work, and especially the villains are just so fun. Yeah, I get the feeling that you'll very much enjoy this should you actually watch the second season. But yes, we should probably move on because we've been running for a while, Jesus.
These streams are always long.
Yep.
Let's move on to the final show, which is, or final book, I should say, sorry. It is Yumi and the Nightmare Painter.
I enjoy this one. I didn't like it quite as much as Tress or Sunlit Man, but it was still very good.
I have opinions.
Would you care to elaborate?
My main issue with it is it fails to it fails to live up the expectation of the story that it was putting forward.
How so?
In that like you get the sense that the story itself is starting how do I describe it? It's like pulling from this idea that like, oh, they're gonna have to do like it's like Yumi's gonna have to learn his magic and he's gonna have to learn hers, and we're gonna learn like I would much rather have it be a burnout story rather than what we got.
Again, that's more of an issue of your expectations not being met by what the story was going for.
I know, and but I also just didn't quite I don't know. I just didn't quite enjoy.
There were some issues I did take with it. Like, I do feel like as much as the vibe was the setting vibe was really good, I feel like Yumi's half of the setting was not quite as engaging as Painter's half. You know?
Right, yeah, that's part of the narrative itself, but
yeah, there is a reason for it in the narrative, but like all the same, I can't stop feeling like that.
Yeah,
it doesn't help. It doesn't help on that end. That Painter's supporting cast is much more overall interesting because the supporting cast in Yumi's half is much smaller and much less involved.
right.
Like the Yumi portions seem to be more dedicated to fleshing out the dynamic between her and Painter,
Which is fine. I'm fine with
I don't mind that. Honestly, it's probably for the best because their dynamic does start off weaker and gets better as the book goes on. But at the same time, like, and I do understand, it makes sense retroactively why Yumi's half of the setting does get shortchanged, but still. I do think the magic system is very interesting here, because it's very It's probably the softest magic system Brandon Sanderson's ever done.
Yeah.
Because he usually does very hard, strict magic systems, whereas this is very much given the shard who's responsible for the magic here. It makes sense that it's a lot looser. Virtuosity. Virtuosity, yeah. So artisticness, basically. So it makes sense that's a bit more fast and loose.
Right. But yeah.
I can understand why there was a disconnect for you, though, again.
Especially because, like, it did feel like both Yumi and Painter were dealing with, like, this sense of, like, burnout and, like, artistic, like, talent, like, autist or, like those codings, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, I get what you mean. I do feel like, though, that Yumi's half of the story does kind of capture the sense of, like, repression and suppression that kind of happens when you're in a very hyper-traditionalist, very strict society. Whereas Painter's half is much more about ostracization and disconnect from your peers. That tends to happen when you when you make a fuck up, or and like how hard it is to kind of bridge the gap and repair those relationships, and wondering if it's even worth trying to repair those relationships, depending on how devastating the fuck up was.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting story. I've seen it enough that I'm like, I wanted other things.
I mean, it is very Your Name-esque in terms of the central premise.
Right.
Except it actually had... I do think the change that Brandon Sanderson made to the premise of having them actually be able to interact with each other directly, I think that does work overall for the story's benefit. Because my one issue with Your Name is, like, it's a big romance story, but there's not a lot of direct interaction between the two.
Right.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's just doesn't quite measure up to Tress or Sunlit Man, I don't think.
No,
Comes close, but not quite.
I'd agree with that.
Still miles better than Frugal Wizard, though.
Oh yeah. That's not a high bar, honestly.
I do think that Frugal Wizard is probably the worst thing Brandon Sanderson has written.
I'd still argue Elantris is worse, but...
See, Elantris, I feel like benefits a little bit from hindsight. But that's just me. But yeah, I do think that Elantris is probably the weakest of his Cosmere works. We should do dedicated podcast episodes to the Cosmere, though. It'd be a fun time, but...
Well, that's something to schedule later down the line, but for now, I think we will bring this stream to an end. So, thank you everybody for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed. In terms of future stuff, Tuesday will be the Manga of 2023 stream. Get ready for us to talk for another 3.5 hours there. Thursday, not quite sure what we're going to do there just yet, but it probably will be...
Maybe Persona, maybe the tier list, depending.
Yeah, it'll probably end up being Persona, I would think. And then Saturday and Sunday, we are not going to be streaming because Christmas. Otherwise, again, thank you for watching. Please do give us a follow here on Twitch and all that YouTube stuff.
Like, subscribe if you've not already. Please leave a comment down below, and don't forget to press that bell icon to get notifications when we upload a new video.
And otherwise, hopefully, we'll see you on Tuesday to talk about manga. Good night.
Later.